Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino here, and I'm so excited for what we are about to do today because this is the trademark, hard-hitting Survivor coverage that you turn to Rob Has a Podcast for because we are very excited to discuss a Survivor season filled with different winners from across the 20-year history of Survivor. I present to you our Brant Steele edition of Survivor Winners at Peace. And now here is the man who has helped me put this all together. Here he is. Give it up for Mr. Mike Bloom.
Hello, or should I say goodbye? Are we going with like mirror parlance with this universe that we've set up now?
Whatever you want to do, Mike. That we are very excited to get into this, and this is an idea that's been kicked around for a while. I first heard it from our own Sam Moore, who pitched this idea in the fall and was kicked around for a while. Then a lot of people have pitched it to us on Twitter since, including the legendary DJ LaBelle Klein. And here we are to talk about the Survivor Winners at Peace.
So this is essentially, for those of you that haven't picked up on the point right now, we are making a Survivor season with essentially all the winners and $1 million receivers who did not make it out to Fiji last spring to film the actual Survivor Winners at War. As you said, Rob, we are also using this season to celebrate 40 freaking seasons of Survivor. And, it didn't feel completely right to leave some people by the wayside and make them forgotten in the Survivor history book. So right now we are dusting off some scrolls and we are adding some addendums here and creating a Survivor season entirely populated by previous winners who did not play in Survivor Winners at War.
Okay, so Mike, let's just set this up real quick because this should be an easy concept for people to wrap their heads around. There's no Popeye's chicken sandwich here or anything like that. We are going to give you a link if you want to follow along with the video version. Mike and I are looking at the same screen on Brant Steele. Go to robhasawebsite.com/winners at Peace. Okay, we're not going to use an acronym. Yes, PEACE there for Winners at Peace, and that's where you can follow along. Real quick, Mike, I know you've been doing a ton of Survivor coverage over at Parade.com for Survivor Winners at War. No preseason coverage so far from Mike Bloom on Survivor Winners at Peace, but can you tell people, just in case they're living under a rock, what you've been up to lately?
Well, let me say first, welcome to the sunlight. I know as well as any of you that it is a harsh substance, but it is ultimately welcoming. Vitamin D can do a body good. But yeah, as Rob says, in preparation for Survivor US specific, I will not even go into all the other Survivor-related stuff that I'm doing right now until the very end. But every weekday on parade.com/tag/Survivor, I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to go out onto set preseason for Survivor Winners at War. That was handled in great detail by Dalton Ross and Gordon Holmes for putting out fantastic interviews. But I figured we've seen these people before. We've specifically seen them succeed in the game of Survivor before. So every weekday, I've been coming out with Survivor winner profiles. So essentially, I'm going through each of the 20 cast members of Winners at War, breaking down from their winning game specifically, their strengths, their weaknesses, their challenge abilities, their abilities to find idols and advantages, whether they were a top dog or an underdog, essentially trying to disseminate who they are as a Survivor player, and then maybe looking forward as to how that's going to be applied amidst all the twists and turns that are sure to come with Survivor Winners at War. At the time this is being released, I have released 8 of them. I go chronologically in order of the win, so I've done Ethan, Sandra, Amber, Danny, Yule, Parvati, Rob, and Sophie, and I should be looking down the barrel of a Kim Spradlin Wolf profile release, but I'll be going again one a weekday until the day before Winners at War comes. I have had so much fun getting to do this, to revisit Survivor history. Rob, I know you've done the same thing with the roundtables, so I feel like, we're providing like peanut butter and jelly in terms of historical material of, ways to really pontificate on these games if you missed their seasons, if you don't exactly remember their winning games, especially with some of these OG winners, this is a good way to sort of brush up your Shakespeare before you move forward with the next act of it.
Okay, so we're ready to go. I know Mike was feeling very bad that he missed the Survivor 40 preseason to be there for the birth of his son, but then was less bad felt bad when you found out about the fire tokens, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I had my own little bundle of joy. It seems like each survivor is going to receive their own bundle of joy in the form of fire tokens, so I guess we're all in the same boat there.
Sure.
My son is less transactional, I think. Can't exactly barter him over to the edge of extinction. I'm pretty sure that's
I heard that he does add a new layer of duplicity to the family, right?
Pooplicity, more like it. Just lots of diapers.
Okay. I tasked Mike Bloom with putting together the roster and the format for what we were going to do. Mike, can you talk the listeners through what you ultimately came up with for today's Brant Steele simulation?
So we are playing on a David versus Goliath template. For those of you, again, welcome rock-dwelling people. If you don't know what Brant Steele is, it is a fantastic website that generates an algorithm that allows you to simulate Survivor seasons, really using anything under the sun. We have done it myriad amounts of times beforehand. And so I'm using the David versus Goliath template because I wanted a relatively new school season that threw some twists in there, because that's some of the big things we're looking forward to from Winners at War, right? Some of these old school players trying to play with newer school elements. And speaking of which, I thought this would also be a great opportunity to bring a season theme that people have been wanting for a returnee season for so long. Old school versus new school, Rob, with the way we cast this season, which we will certainly get into because in true Brant Steele fashion, there are some wild cards in there. But we were able to create one tribe that's made up of old school winners and one tribe that's made up of quote unquote new school winners. That's always, a very murky title. For all intents and purposes for this, new school is going to refer to the modern idol era moving forward.
Yeah.
So when the modern day hidden immunity idol was first introduced in Fiji, that's what we're sort of connotating as new school. All these other people in the old school tribe, Rob, don't even know what an idol is.
Okay. All right. Mike, should we have gone with millennials versus Gen X for this old school versus new school theme?
I mean, I don't know if we can make imbalanced tribes because I think that's what we're going to go for, right? Maybe we should more so go for what, like Gen Xers versus boomers versus millennials. Maybe that would have parsed it out better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's real quick meet who we're going to have with us. There shouldn't be too much mystery. Mike, who are the 10 Survivor $1 million recipients that will be playing on the Orange Old School Tribe?
I'm very glad you used that qualifier because we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start with a good friend of yours, Rob, MVP RHAP guest, Aris Bushkowskis. And he's coming back from a startling music career, starting a family. Didn't go so well for him last time on Blood versus Water, but I think he's hoping to sort of, make a jury sandwich out of it and have a win to sort of have a nice arc to everything.
Okay, Aris is stepping away from the very successful clothing and apparel business that he and his wife run.
Season, Rob.
No, not the Tundra Hat. Christy Dawn, very successful. Aris has walked away. Has come on out to return to Survivor for a third time here on the Old School Tribe. Who else is here, Mike?
So he is regarded as one of the biggest Survivor villains, but also one of the most masterful winners the show has ever seen. And Rob, we still cannot get out of our heads the conversation you had with him a few years ago. Brian Heidick, Mr. Freeze himself, is paving his ice-covered way back onto the show.
Yes, as he once said, condo paid for, no car payment. He is.
I think he's racked up some more payments, which is why he came back onto the show.
He's back to do it again. Mr. Freeze, the Iceman, is here. Brian Heidick.
Let's see. I don't know if it'll be another business trip. Maybe this one's more for pleasure. We shall see. And coming up next, again, another old school winner. It is not over for Chris Doherty, winner of Survivor Vanuatu.
Yeah, so Survivor historian favorite Chris is here to maybe sneak in the back door.
Yeah, I mean, listen, unfortunately, due to just the gender dynamics here, the men far outnumber the women. This is not a circumstance that Chris is necessarily used to, so we'll see if he can really
Look,
acclimate to that form of management.
if we can't get a female winner in the fake season, it's gonna be tough because they're down in the numbers to start off. So don't blame us.
Listen, it happened in San Juan del Sur. Anything can happen in Brant, Steele, Rob. You got to believe.
Anything can happen. All right, Mike, who else is here? Let's get to our first woman.
Yes, it is your partner in crime for the Survivor Amazon commentary release.
Yes,
Jenna Maraska,
yes,
the winner of Survivor Amazon.
Oh, this is so exciting. I'm very, very excited. Full disclosure, we'll be pulling hard for the return of Jenna Maraska here in this season.
I cannot wait for Reddit to light up about how soft you're going on her and how, you're really enabling her just because you know her when really you should be harshly critiquing her game.
Look, I will try to be as professional as possible.
Absolutely. But joining her is another winner who also appeared on Survivor All-Stars. In fact, that's the last time we saw him, even though apparently there have been many, many times before where he was in the running, including Survivor Winners at War. Of course, we had to have the OG back on here, the first ever Survivor winner, Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Wow, this is exciting. Richard Hatch and Jenna Maraska reunited from being on the Mogo tribe together. So, all right, Hatch is here. We did speak with Richard. He is going to wear clothes the entire time. No more nudity on the beach. You too, Jenna. Okay, everybody, keep your damn clothes on.
Yes, absolutely. Those are the new circumstances we put in. Tyler Perry has actually instituted parkas and long johns for everybody to keep on instead of swimsuits. So we're going in a new direction here, new school season. I'm excited. I think a lot of people have wondered how Richard Hatch, who really, I think, helped become the forefront of really initial strategy in Survivor, how he would fare nowadays in really fast-paced, advantage-laden modern Survivor. And this is an opportunity for us to do so, albeit simulation-wise.
Okay. All right. Now, Mike, let's get to our first person who is a non-traditional winner here. Tell us who else is on the Old School Tribe.
All right, look, I wanted to have this season, and we only had 18 non-WAW winners, so we had to throw in a couple of wild cards here. Rupert did technically win $1 million. And look, he left reality TV last time we saw him. He got crushed by his spirit animal, both emotionally and physically on The Amazing Race. I think you need to pick
You mean this?
Hey, come on. We didn't come here to lose.
He loves elephants. I don't think he loves that elephant.
Please, baby, please. Yes, I love elephants. Everybody's passing us. We're in last place. Elephants have been my spirit guide for my life. You are killing me. They represent that strength that I've always wanted. I can't end on an elephant. I love you too much.
You think Rupert's loved one's going to be an elephant if he makes it to the loved one's
No, it has to be Laura. Has to be Laura.
Dumbo, come on out.
It's going to be Laura. Stop it. Okay. All right. We couldn't let Rupert end on an elephant. He has to come back for Survivor Winners at Peace. And in true hippie tie-dye tank top, that I think that nothing says a winner at peace like Rupert's tie-dye shirt.
Right. I mean, he is sort of the odd one out here in that he's the only person who not only never received a majority of jury votes, but never received any jury votes. Only America votes.
That's only 2 less than Russell.
Exactly. I got more jury votes than anybody. I got millions of them. They were America.
Yes. But yes, great point, Mike, that because Rupert was a Survivor $1 million recipient. I was there in person that night when Survivor had our America's Tribal Council, and Rupert Boneham received $1 million, just like one Amber Burkich did only days earlier for just getting the popular vote.
Yes, but he did not give it away to Sheehan like Amber did with the car, right?
No, he did not give anything away. I did keep trying to, say, hey, Rupert, come on, let's go 50-50, okay? Let's just make the deal right now, me and you.
No, unfortunately,
No deal.
Yeah, it was not that popular at the point. Though I could also imagine Rupert on Deal or No Deal. Let's get Rupert on all the reality shows, shall we?
Sure. Why not? Okay. Rupert is going to have a familiar face on his tribe, Mike.
Yeah, so this is an idea from the great Josh Wigler, who unfortunately couldn't be here to join us in the Brant stealing that's about to ensue. I mean, Sandra has technically won the game twice. Rob, what I'm personally imagining as a fellow TNG lover of Star Trek is like a William Thomas Riker situation where there was some sort of like divide in the timeline or some sort of malfunction technology-wise. And we have produced two Sandras, one heroes versus villain Sandra, which assumingly is the reason or the biggest reason why she's on Winners at War. But the original Win Sandra from Pearl Islands and the latter is who we're having right now on the Old School Tribe.
Okay, so for some reason, Sandra did not get cast on Heroes versus Villains in this alternate timeline. And so this is alternate timeline Sandra Diaz-Twine, who has had a layoff from Survivor since season 7.
Right. We don't know her feeling on goats. There are no statues of her head at this point. This is very like a plain or a plainer Sandra that we remember from the Pearl Islands, but she's been away for so long, as opposed to the other Sandra, the Prime Universe Sandra, which we're accustomed to and luckily have seen on our screens very recently.
Okay, and I just want to say for the record, this was not my idea to invent a timeline where Sandra did not win Heroes versus Villains, in case she's listening.
Yes, exactly. No. You wash your hands of this situation.
Very much so. Okay. All right. Who else is here?
Tina Wesson, one of our, we have 2 4-timers here. Tina is the second ever winner, first ever female winner of Survivor from the Australian Outback. She came back for Survivor All-Stars along with a good amount of these old school tribe people. And I'd say Tina has the most overall experience. You know, she's used to
I would say
going
Big
all the
Tom
way.
has the most overall experience.
Yes, I guess I suppose so. But Tina, she went all the way her first time. Second time, she was voted out first. Third time, she was a juror. So she's really seen all sides of the Survivor game. And we'll see how well-rounded that makes her. In the spirit of the Olympics, let the games begin.
Okay. All right. Will we be having any Doritos?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. They might have to bring Doritos back as a sponsor so she could freak out like Karishma did for Applebee's.
Yes. All right. 2 people that I once upon a time took a trip to Argentina with. Not Argentina Wesson. It is Argentina Wesson. Yeah.
Maybe there's going to be a horseback riding trip with the occasional elephant for Rupert as a reward.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's find out who else is here.
One of the biggest heroes in Survivor history, so much so that he was considered one of the top 10 Survivor winners by the time of Survivor Heroes versus Villains. Tom Westman, the firefighter turned insurance agent, is back. He proved his leadership and immunity's worth last time out, and let's see if he can still keep that fire burning.
Okay. All right. And then we have one final person here with us on the Old School Tribe, a most recent guest on Talking with T-Bird.
I was thinking about reading T-Bird's like extracted introduction for Vesepia, but I didn't want to copy her work. But yes, V is back. It's so interesting because I just finished up her talk with you. And
Coming back from Survivor Marquesas. She
born
was
in 1957. So V's back. It's so interesting listening to your conversation with her because she talked about coming back. And, last time she played like a V. This time she wants to play like a Sean, and let's see if that works out for her.
Okay, there you go. That's our Old School Tribe. Let's meet our New School Tribe. What's the dividing line here, Mike? It's
that idol. It's that modern day idol where, Aris played in a season where an idol existed, but I feel like that was really the first sign that we have cemented the rules of modern day Survivor. And so this group represents people that were able to do that. Let's see if they can still prevail. Do they have home court advantage in that regard, considering the mettle of the old school players? We shall see. And I guess speaking of home court, here's someone who's likely to build a court just out of lumber that he finds in his backyard. Bob Crowley, winner of Survivor Gabon, oldest Survivor winner ever, is back.
Yes. When you say build a court, is that like sort of like to have like a trial?
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, Bob has been able to build a lot of things. He's hosted Survivor tribal councils in his backyard before. I could imagine he'd hold like a kangaroo court. I feel like he can make his own little sovereign nation if he wants to. Bobtopia.
Would he hold like a trial, like for like Adrian Veidt? Like, why is he having court cases in his backyard?
I would love a manor
Is
populated by
Pappy
clones.
ruling?
Yeah, I would say Pappy's ruling. But it's a manor populated entirely by clones of Bob Crowley and Gillian Larson.
Bob is guilty.
Master, would you like to smell the elephant dung? I baked a cake out of it.
Okay. All right. Bob Crowley is here, everybody. All right. And who else is here, Mike?
So this is a guy who unfortunately missed the cut for Winners at War, considering that, these people went out a couple weeks after he won, and he was very much on their minds considering the advent of Edge of Extinction. But Chris Underwood is here to bring some more days to his resume after the 9 that he spent playing the game in Survivor Edge of Extinction.
Well, in fairness, that he did come back and play more than just 9.
Right. Well,
I believe
exactly.
it was 13 total, Mike, so don't be such a hater.
And we'll see if he'll add at least 3 more onto that to make it not such an unlucky number. But yeah, Chris had a fiery run quite literally at the end there. He probably knows the modern Survivor game better than anybody out here. Let's see if he can use that to his advantage.
He's here to do it for Monica.
Exactly. He's where to use the reverse pitch or what was that technique that he used during his final tribal council?
The negative reverse, I think.
The negative reverse, exactly.
That might be not right, but that's...
I think it's a position that Brian Heideg's probably very
Hey.
He's a salesman.
All right. Let's talk about our next member of the new school tribe.
Yeah, we're playing in Fiji, but we might as well call it Earl Island. Earl Cole is back here.
The king of Fiji is back.
It makes sense. He's returning to his home court that Rob built for him to hopefully not await that strict of a trial. I'm excited for Earl. I know he's been in the mix a couple times. He had a conversation with you, Rob, I think around this time last year. So it's clear he's attuned to the game, and let's see if he can keep away the snakes, but bring in the money.
Yes, much like you, that Earl also had a baby around the time of Survivor 40's filming. And so that was one of the reasons that Earl could not participate in Winners at War, but here he is, Winners at Peace.
Yes, and I can't wait for my son to kick his kid's ass in Survivor 75 babies.
Okay. I believe he had a daughter.
Okay. All right. So maybe a showman's.
Okay. There you go. All right. Oh, look who's back. It's a good thing that the People blog isn't being written anymore because it would be actually between our next 2 people, it would be Steven might have a conniption trying to figure out who to hand out the fishy to every week.
Right. This is the season that will send Steven Fish back to therapy because he has to choose between 2 good friends here. JT is back, James Thomas, to see if he can sink any lower in his Survivor run. It's been a little tough for JT.
It's gotten worse and worse every time out for JT. He's looking to reverse the curse.
Well, listen, if he makes it past episode 4, I believe he'll do at least just as well as he did during Game Changer. So really, he's shooting low right now, but JT is one that's known to swing for the fences in his recent seasons, and I can only imagine he's going to do the same thing.
Okay. And then look who else is here, Mike.
Yes, Jeff Probst gave Cochran a lift to the island. He's actually back. He took a break from Kevin Can Wait. Cochran has to play Survivor.
Kevin Can Wait has been canceled for some time.
Yes, he's been waiting a while.
Yes, I believe he's actually working with David Wright, writing for. Did they announce what show there is?
Yeah, they're working on Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Okay, I wasn't sure. I knew that's what it was. I just wasn't sure if that was. I knew at one point it was top secret, but okay.
Right. I believe when it was actually announced at the Edge of Extinction finale, I think Mike McMahon, the showrunner, tweeted out his accolades for it. So I'm excited for that as well. And I'm glad. Hopefully Cochran then got the William Thomas Riker joke that I made before.
Yes.
Rolling in the aisles.
David Wright definitely did.
Good.
Okay.
Good. Put it on the DVD shelf.
Mike, who else is on the New School Tribe?
Well, Fabio's here.
Yes.
Looking for another paycheck, assumingly. Yeah, this guy who came out of nowhere, probably one of the most WTF winners, but from a pure character perspective, one of the most fun Survivor winners that we've ever had.
He was fun.
He was a good time. He was an interesting character in the background of so much calamity going on in Survivor Nicaragua. He was one who was able to pursue, keep his head up, and keep his spirits very high. Let's see if he can manage that highness as he goes through this game as well.
Yes. Luckily, we have no in-ground pool in Survivor winners apiece?
Right, exactly. We've sort of now been able to go back into the ocean so Fabio can let himself go however he needs to without bothering his tribe members.
Okay, all right. A man who kicked off the 30s of Survivor with a win. Who else is here, Mike?
Mike Holloway, a fellow Mike, challenge beast himself, doing the happy dance right now to see if he can bring it in once again and hopefully not have to make such a high stakes run. Hopefully be able to slide in a lot easier.
That's what we do, baby. We do the happy dance.
Yes, okay. Mike is 155,000% ready to go.
Hopefully, Med has a nice supply of lozenges this time around, so we don't need to hear Horse Mike and how far he goes.
All right, I'm very excited for this next person on the new school try, Mike.
Yes, someone was able to use Kyle Jason, the bounty hunter, track down Natalie White, and has been able to
The Mandalorian was a T-Bird?
Oh my God, exactly. Oh my word. Here is Natalie White, the dethroner of Russell Hance's original season, winner of Survivor Samoa, back here to see what she can prove her second time out.
They need to have Natalie out there because then they can see that Natalie is not that good. And then I should have been the winner.
And then I will pop out at the final tribal council and take her spot.
I will buy the title from Natalie for only $5,000.
I'm making a GoFundMe page. Please donate so I can pay Natalie for the crown.
Natalie White is here, everybody. All right. 2 more winners, Mike.
Todd Herzog. Super happy to see Todd back here. He had a very interesting run in Survivor China, one of the most strategic winners we've seen. Unfortunately, really tough downturn for Todd with his battle of alcoholism since his time then, but he's on the mend right now. He's happily engaged, and now he's ready to fully engage Survivor as well.
All right. I'm very excited to see Todd back. He might take some exception to being on the new school tribe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, there's very loose definitions, much like it is for any Survivor theme, and unfortunately, Todd has to be a victim to that.
Yeah, Todd did play back in season 15, China, but you could certainly argue that his game was of the style that you see among the new school players.
Are you talking like our last person from the new school tribe?
No, I was talking about that. That is Jeff Probst's preseason mode. Okay, but talk
gotcha.
Talk about our most recent winner of Survivor who's here.
Yes, Tommy Sheehan, I guess our reigning champion. And now I'm imagining Jeff Probst's voice being like, Todd is probably one of the people who was the most recent to go to school. So therefore, he is new school by that definition.
Yes, well, he goes to school every day.
Yeah, exactly. And so does Tommy as well. We're going to see teaching time with Tommy. Tommy is coming in hot, especially after his deep dive with you. He seems very... I think he got a very strong win. We talked about this the day after the finale that I think it was a very good game played by Tommy. Let's see if we can replicate it, especially so soon and with another group of players that have done the exact same thing as him, sans, Rupert.
Yeah. Interesting tribe divisions. Natalie White, the only woman here on the new school tribe.
Yeah, I'd say a bit of a sausage fest, but when Chris Underwood's on a tribe, that's
okay. All right. There are it makes our old school tribe with 4 women seem like that's pretty much a lot better, but still speaks to the fact that still way more men winning Survivor in the history of the show, and also that is heavily weighted by the 30s. Okay, all right. Mike, are we ready to go into episode 1?
Well, do you have who are you pulling for right now? I know a personal pick right now, a sentimental pick is Jenna, but do you have sort of going with your head, who do you think is going to become the winner of this group of quote unquote winners?
Okay, so I will say if I was going to make a winner pick among this group, I feel like don't sleep on Vesepia. I feel like that she's really in a good spot in terms of that people are going to not look at her as a threat. Also, alternate universe Sandra, I think, is also somebody to keep an eye on. Will not be a threat, although, as always with Sandra, the challenges are going to be an issue early on. I think that, Jenna I would look at her. I'm looking at people that are sort of like under the radar here early on, where a lot of these bigger targets are going to, I think, have some trouble early on. I think Todd is somebody that you should keep an eye on, but I'm looking for people that are sort of more under the radar to start off here.
Right. I think if I'm going to put in one chalk pick, I'm going to go with Earl here, the king of Fiji, coming back to his throne. Because I think Earl, played one of the most underrated winter games in Survivor history, especially as someone who apparently never saw the show before going on. He was able to really build the plane as it flew and was able to, never really be in trouble at any point in time and get the first unanimous win in Survivor history, paving the way for the two guys next to him, JT and Cochran. So I think that he's someone who, is definitely likable enough that I think people would get along with him, but not someone who sticks out so much. I think that's going to be the danger for some of these old school people as they have such a reputation behind them. Even someone like Mike Holloway, who's known for winning challenges, you can imagine that once the individual phase hits, if he's not gone by then, he certainly will. I could see him mirroring the fate of his fellow Dirty 30 person, Joey Amazing.
Okay. We got a lot to get to, so let's jump into the game. All right. Let's kick it off with our big twist. What are we doing here, Mike? Okay, go ahead.
Well, as we remember in Survivor David versus Goliath, to really pit the two forces against one another, Jeff brought them aboard a rainy barge and had two people from one tribe compete against two people from another tribe. And so I believe in this case, the new schoolers are going to pick two old schoolers to compete in a challenge. And then they're going to put up two new schoolers and they're going to compete in their first reward challenge for supplies.
Okay, so it looks like Chris and Tina have been selected. I guess that they were picked by the new school tribe. I feel like that Chris famously struggled in a first tribe once upon a time, first challenge.
I actually think that first challenge on the barge did have a balance beam on it. So I can imagine if it's a similar challenge, they look at it and say, oh, yeah, put Chris Doherty on it. He's not going to make it past there.
And maybe people feel like that Tina's lost a step, and they're going to be competing with a pair of Goliaths. Chris Underwood and Earl are going to take on Chris, Daugherty, and Tina.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's a Chris battle with, I guess, Tina and Earl as their seconds.
Yeah. Let me make sure I say this right. It's Chris Daugherty. Which guy is the bald singer?
Daughtry.
Okay.
And the Masked Singer runner-up, spoiler.
Okay. All right. More Masked Singer to come very soon. All right. So let's see how this is going to play out. Okay. New School Tribe wins the reward. Okay. So, yeah, Chris Underwood and Earl made short work of Chris and Tina.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think that as much as Chris and Tina really tried, I mean, these two guys are relatively young and more athletic, and so they were able to bring home the bacon, or I guess in this case, the bacon is pre-cut lumber and additional supplies.
Okay, all right. So at the Old School Tribe hidden immunity idol is currently hidden. Okay, so we have an idol at both camps.
Do you think they know there's an idol out there?
I think so.
So old school that they're so too busy building
They've seen the
shelter.
They've seen the show. Okay. All right. Let's go to our immunity challenge here. And it looks like the Old School Tribe will win the first immunity of the season. So
all right.
New School going to Tribal Council number 1.
All right, so they were able to, come back from losing that first challenge. I guess it was more of a team effort here. I guess the new schoolers, maybe they were a bit too big for their britches. They thought, okay, we played these challenges more recently. Mm-hmm. We know what the score is, but they weren't able to get their heads together enough. Whereas these people put their head down, worked hard, and now they are all safe from being the first one out of Survivor winners apiece.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the beach for the Old School Tribe, let's see. We are seeing a little bit of a bond between Brian Heidick and Jenna Maraska.
Interesting. I mean, I guess, you
can't see it, but okay.
We say often that, survivors bond with the people who were on the season right after them.
Mm-hmm.
We see a similar type of consecutive pairing here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There you go. Also, Tom Westman is impressing the group.
Just like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Riding
Sounds
a
about
fire
right.
truck Yeah, exactly. He's trying to catch sharks, even though I don't believe there are sharks in Fiji. Like, he's ready to take up that leadership mantle again, probably much to Rupert's chagrin.
All right, let's take a look at what's going on the New School Tribe Beach, because they're going to Tribal Council. That's where all the attention ought to be. All right, we see that Bob and Fabio are bonding. I could see that. It has a lasting impact.
I could see them being like, hey, you check out all those winner ranking lists that it's going around across the internet. Like, they're bonding as the bottom feeders.
Alliance name, Bobbio?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. All right. Bobbio is happening. All right. The student and the teacher. All right. Meanwhile, we see Fabio again here with Mike Holloway. They have a bond. So Fabio off to a hot start.
Yeah, I mean, and he probably burned himself once again while he was trying to wear swim goggles and blowing on the fire. But yeah, I mean, Fabio was known for really getting along with everybody except Nayanka, so I can imagine he's hitting the ground as our social king once more.
Hey, she still voted for him in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's his social kingness.
Yes. Do you think that maybe everybody is being nice to Fabio to be one step closer to Chase Rice?
Yeah, exactly. Or one step towards a modeling contract.
Okay. All right. We got an alliance here on the New School Tribe. Check out this alliance right now. Okay. So we have an alliance of Bob, Earl, Fabio, Mike Holloway, Todd, and Tommy.
Okay. So who's left out here? Obviously, Natalie White,
Chris Underwood,
and trying to think
Cochran, and JT.
Okay. So basically, it's like the people who aren't friends of Stephen Fishback.
Yes, they're like, we all hate Stephen. He's mean to us in his blogs. All right, so let's vote out everybody that's his friend.
Yeah, we're gonna go catfishy.
Okay. Then there's another alliance though that is with Bob and.
Oh, looks like Bob and Todd essentially formed an alliance, and Fabio formed an alliance with the other four people that were left out.
Bob and Todd actually do like Stephen Fishback, so they've also befriended the other people and Fabio. Fabio's everywhere.
Hell of a game, hell of a premiere episode for Fabio.
Yeah, Fabio's in with everybody. Okay, so basically 2 alliances going on. Half the tribe is in one, the other half the tribe's in the other, but Bob, Fabio, and Todd are in both alliances.
Right, they're sort of the fulcrum at this point, and Bob knows a lot about fulcrums considering he's a science teacher.
So basically, it's going to be Bob and Fabio and Todd are going to decide where this vote goes, unless the 2 groups team up against them. All right, are we ready for Tribal Council number 1?
I already hate to see a winner go here, Rob, but it has to happen to somebody, and they are not coming back into the game.
Okay, do you have any idea of who it might be?
I mean, I can't imagine who they're going to target, because we really didn't see a lot from the tribe events of somebody rubbing someone the wrong way. If this is a cutthroat group, they could go for Fabio. They could be like, wow, this guy is everywhere. But I feel like they're short-sighted at this point, that I could see, I don't know, maybe like a Mike Holloway boot. Maybe they feel he's going to be too threatening down the line, and it's not like he's winning them challenges now.
Yeah, I think that it could be either JT or Cochran. I think that those are the biggest names out there. And do you think they had a pregame alliance?
JT
and Cochran?
Yeah, do you think Steven tried to get them together?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. That it's hard to get inside Steven's head, but I think he might look at it like, oh, well, what if Cochran is a better Steven than me, and then I won't like that. What if JT likes Cochran more than me? So I think that he probably would try to turn them against each other.
I think Steven, to cover his bases, applied himself as both of their loved ones. So it's going to be real awkward when it gets to the loved ones visit and he comes out for both of them.
All right, let's see how this first tribal council is going to go. Nobody has an idol here at Tribal Council number 1, okay? Let's see. For first vote, Earl.
Okay.
Natalie White. Earl.
Oh, no.
Natalie. It's 2 votes Earl, 2 votes Natalie.
Okay.
Natalie. Earl. We're tied again. Earl. Natalie.
Wow.
It's 4 votes Earl, 4 votes Natalie. Natalie? The tribe has spoken. You see, I knew it. I knew Natalie White was nothing without me carrying her. She couldn't even make it one tribal council against the best of the best.
So anyway, this includes my podcast. Y'all click on that GoFundMe link. So I'm going to go to the finale and tell Natalie I'm going to rush the stage.
Now, Mike, Natalie White was in a very bad spot here. There were 9 men on this tribe, only 1 woman. Bad luck, guys. Bad luck.
Yeah. Internet is ready to cancel the New School tribe already.
Cancel the New School tribe. They voted out the only woman on their tribe.
Well, Natalie was not necessarily someone who was known for her challenge prowess. Something tells me that maybe they just decided to pref strength of like, okay, we know she's a weak link that they can cut. But yeah, it all came down to what were Bob, Fabio, and Todd going to do. And it turns out that I guess they sided with their initial group of guys, the anti-Steven Alliance, and decided to take out Natalie here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take a look at how the votes went. That the people that voted against Natalie were it was Bob, it was Earl, it was Fabio, it was Todd, it was Tommy, and Mike Holloway. So the people that were the votes for Earl were Chris Underwood, JT, Steven, and then also Natalie White. So it looks like that
Cochran Steven.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody. So all right. So it looks like that Cochran, JT, and Chris Underwood are gonna a little bit out there on a limb now.
Yeah, they're on the back foot right now, which, look, getting voted out is not new to Chris Underwood. I guess not new to any of those 3 guys. So maybe that's an advantage, like Tyson has spoken.
You can come back from down 6-3. I know how to do it. I won't tell you.
You should have kept Natalie. She has the secret.
She could be a part of a strong foursome if you know what you're doing and you don't.
Boy. So yeah, I mean, this actually reminds me a bit of the first vote from Karamoan, where it was like a 6-4 vote, and we'll see. Maybe we'll have a Philip Shepard-like character to bring JT and Chris Underwood and Cochran in. But for now, it looks like if New School is going to Tribal Council again, they might be on the outside looking in.
Okay. All right, Mike. Here we are. Episode number 2 of our Old School, New School Winners at Peace. What a premiere. What a premiere episode.
I mean, really, this was a coming out party for Fabio. It seemed like he's in the majority right now. We didn't see too much of what was going on Old School. Hopefully they get the game moving a bit. I can imagine them going to Tribal Council will hopefully light a fire under them.
Yeah, no edge of extinction for Natalie White.
Nope, exactly. She is going back to wherever she came from and disappearing assumingly until we cast her once again.
Actually, Mike, I stand corrected. There actually is the edge of extinction on this season, but every one of these winners at peace got together before the season and said that they will all made a blood pact to walk the other way, and that the survivors themselves can cancel the edge of extinction just by not going there.
Yeah, true to the name of the season, this is a very peaceful group. They said, okay, guys, let's all make it like a fair, clean match. And by the way, let's try to not have anything moral.
Swipe right when you get to that sign for Edge of Extinction.
Exactly. They actually really had to downscale the budget for this season because of Winners at War. So it literally is just a tablet that you either swipe left or right on when you get to the signpost.
I know it's a little counterintuitive. I think you swipe right if you like something, but I do believe that the boat is to the left.
Yes, exactly. So maybe that's why, again, if there were more millennials that were playing, they get a bit confused by it, but I think everyone else sort of understands the directions.
Okay. All right. Here we go. We have our Old School tribe and our New School tribe with a hidden immunity idol. We have no alliances of the Old School tribe, and that same alliance structure going on at the New School tribe, where we have basically like these overlapping alliances where Chris, JT, and Cochran have their 3-person alliance, and they think they're also in with Bob Crowley, Fabio, and Todd. Meanwhile, you also have the alliance of Earl and Mike Holloway and Teaching Time with Tommy, and they also think that they're in an alliance. So it's really that if you're going to do the Venn diagram of this tribe, that both threesomes think that they have a group of 6 with Bob and Fabio and Todd. So Bob and Fabio and Todd are really playing the middle.
Do we think, who's the brain to this? Do we assume that Todd is the brain?
I would just think that's a fair assumption, Mike.
Yeah, if we're talking about like brains, brawn, beauty, Todd's the brains, Bob's the muscle, and Fabio's the good looks. He's the face.
Bob's the muscle?
I mean, he can build stuff. He's handy.
I guess so. He's crafty. He's crafty.
He's crafty.
He's like
exactly.
he's like the professor. He's the inventor. Wouldn't say he's the muscle.
Right. So we have, I guess, we have the professor, we have Gilligan, and we have like a combination of Skipper and Marianne.
Okay, we'll go. Sure. All right.
Yeah, Marianne was very wily.
They are working with Tommy, so they have the ginger.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess who's Mr. and Mrs. Howell? I guess that sounds like Mike Holloway, right? Close enough to his last name.
Mike Holloway. All right. Mike, let's see where we're going next. Our immunity challenge, and it looks like for the first time that the New School tribe is going to win immunity.
And they win a fishing kit, and Chris Underwood's eyes light up. That was his key to winning the game the first time around, so he's ready to have it happen again.
Okay. All right. Rupert is real hot. He wanted that fishing kit. That was my fishing kit.
I've had to try to catch fish with my hands.
How's it going, Rup?
Not good.
All right. Let's go ahead and see as the Old School tribe will go to their first tribal
see if
council.
Someone finds an idol.
Okay. No idol found yet. We have Aris and Tom having a minor disagreement. Shades of Aris versus Terry. Do you think that Aris told Tom to call the wambulance?
Yeah, exactly. They were wrestling with each other at a carabiner at Tree Mail, and
actually, I'm sorry.
Tom's crying on the course.
Yes, it's Terry told Aris to call the wambulance, right?
No, Aris told Terry because Terry was complaining that Aris had pushed him aside while they were on the ropes course.
Okay, all right.
Two battering rams.
All right, it's a little bit of a disagreement there with Aris and Tom. It has a lasting impact, though. It's a minor disagreement, but this is interesting. I think this is indigenous to this David versus Goliath format. That this is the second time I've seen something that says that it has a lasting impact.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. These things cut deep in the game. These people will not forget what happened to them. But Rob, it looks like finally the strategy is moving on Old School. They had 3 days to sort of get settled in, but now it's time to get down to business, and we have our first alliance on the Old School.
Yeah, it looks like that we have a bit of a single-digit season winner alliance here.
I like that. Double digits, double trouble. The singles are winning out here.
No Sandra here, but we have Brian, Chris, Jenna Maraska, Richard Hatch, Tina, and Vesepia. What are they calling themselves? Like the OGs? I mean, you have basically the winners of season 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 9.
Yeah, so basically, this is like I think the single digits is probably the best name for this alliance because, I'm assuming they're taking advantage of the schism between Aris and Tom to not have the rest of them monopolize. I mean, they do have the majority right now, so it seems like if they stick together, they can essentially handpick who's going to go home from their tribe here.
Okay, bad news for Aris and Tom to be not only in the minority, but also be fighting with each other. Okay, all right. Meanwhile, on the New School tribe, Earl is impressing the team. Sounds about right.
I mean, he knows the wilds of Fiji. He's showing them all the things that they can take in, and they're very impressed, even though I think a couple of these winners have also played in Fiji a little bit more recently, but Earl's endearing himself.
Okay, and also Fabio has a major meltdown. Oh, boy.
Oh, no. Oh, well, it was a good 6 days of all it lasted, Rob.
He got off to a hot start, but maybe too much too fast for Fabio. What do you think that Fabio's major meltdown entails?
I think he lost his socks again. Not again, man.
What? I can't believe you guys. Where are my socks? Come on.
This can't be happening.
This isn't so good with everybody.
Yeah, okay. And I can imagine, you know what? I think JT hit his socks. I think this is JT feeling villainous of like, I'm going to, try to mentally mess with Fabio by hiding his socks again and trying to blame it on somebody else.
All right. Meanwhile, here's Bob and Chris Underwood. A little fight, big impact.
Yeah, I can imagine that again. Chris with the fishing equipment tried to bogart it. I think Bob wanted some experience in it, considering he worked in primarily landlocked areas and plays in them. He wanted to have a try at it. But Chris, true to, I guess, Rupert, his equivalent on the Old School tribe, wanted to keep it on his own. He was afraid that he'd lose his spearhead in the ocean. Okay.
Do you think that they were fighting about they have the same middle name? Is that true?
Yes, I'm sure they had a fight about who's going to take propriety of the middle name that they share.
Okay. All right. So, New School Tribe Alliance. Okay. Let's see. Okay. We have Bob, Chris Underwood, JT, Cochran, Fabio and Todd Herzog. Really, it's confusing me that you have Judd Berza and not Fabio.
Listen, I think that blame Brant Steele. They want to go with birth name here,
Yes.
apparently.
But Cochran is walking away from this alliance. Okay.
Oh no, South Pacific Cochran's rearing his head again.
Yes, he's taking a page out of his mentor at Savaii, Ozzy's playbook, and Cochran's a free agent. He's walked away from the alliance.
Well, maybe I think he's starting to see that Bob, Fabio, and Todd are sort of playing the middle, and he realizes that, I was on the other side of the vote. Let me strike out on my own here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's throwing JT and Chris Underwood a bit under the bus, but he's all about self-preservation at this moment, especially knowing that this is the pre-merge when Cochran is exactly pretty vulnerable, I would say.
Yes. Also, Cochran was out there in Caramoan with Brandon Hance. He sees Fabio's major meltdown. He's like, look, I know where this is going. I'm out of here.
Jeff, just so you know, you better get those hands ready for a massage. It's coming. It's happening.
Okay. So really a lot of moving parts going into this first tribal council. No idols, but we have Aris and Tom are going into. Sorry, I'm getting my tribes confused, so forget about that. All right, let's go back to the old school tribe. Okay, so let's focus on tribal council number 2 here. We talked about the fight between Aris and Tom, the single digit alliance. Do you think that it will be either Aris or Tom that goes home at tribal council number 2?
That's what I'm assuming right now. I think Rupert and Sandra, I think Sandra was able to convince Rupert to hey, just lie under the radar right now. Trust me. I feel like this is a game I could replicate and do just as well in, but it feels like these guys are gunning for each other right now. And so they're just watching these guys go like the 2 battering rams they are, but one ram is going to go home tonight.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the votes. No hidden immunity idol, no advantages are going to be played. Let's see. Our first vote is Tom. Tom. Rupert.
Okay.
Rupert. We're tied. Rupert.
Is this a Rupert blindside?
Rupert.
Oh, no.
Rupert. Rupert,
No!
the tribe has spoken.
Who the hell voted for him?
Who voted for me? That's it.
mean,
now
I
I'll
could
just
see-
have to go to Redemption Island again.
I can imagine Rupert then being like, sure, Rupert, go to that island over there, and we'll call you when it's time for the duel. And Rupert just has his own little homemade edge of extinction for the rest of the game.
Okay. What do you think happened here? And who are the 2 votes against Tom? You think it's Rupert and Aris or Rupert and Sandra?
It could be Rupert and Sandra. I guess we're assuming a relationship there. No, actually, you know what? I think it's Rupert and Aris, because I think Sandra would turn on Rupert in a hot second, like she did.
Yeah,
in
she
her
wants to
first-
get in with the single-digit crew. She's not going to, anybody but me does not mean I'm going to work with Rupert, even though he's in the minority.
Well, I think this is a very old school mentality, right? Of vote out who sticks out. And I think that Rupert stuck out as the only person who never made it to a final tribal council.
Yeah.
So just an easy consensus boot here.
Sandra did vote for Rupert. It was Aris and it was Rupert, the 2 people that voted for Tom. I could see Aris having a connection with Rupert. I mean, that I feel like that they do have some things in common.
Well, it's also shades of Exile Island, right? When there was that scattershot Bob dog.
Oh,
vote
yeah.
where everyone had acrimony against each other and threw votes
Yeah.
at one another.
Don't forget that Aris played with Laura Boneham, so there's some connection there between maybe Blood versus Water. Maybe they hit it off.
Yeah, and Aris did not. I mean, he protected Laura Boneham, right? He voted off Laura Moret instead of her. So it's almost like Rupert feels like he owed him a favor.
I owe you one, Aris. Okay. Does Christy Dawn have anything in tie-dye?
If so, I've got to wear it to my next campaign rally.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and
And the good news about Rupert being voted off early is you don't need to worry about him pulling a Vetus and going on social media afterwards. Because I'm assuming he got locked out of his account again.
I'm locked out again. All right.
I got locked out of the old schoolers too.
Final 18, 9 on 9. Here we go. Let's go to check in with our tribes. We have the single-digit alliance still in play. On the New School tribe, it looks as though Mr. Crowley has the hidden immunity idol. So
are we sure we just didn't make one? It just really passed as a lookalike.
It looks like an idol for Bob. So Bob has the hidden immunity idol in the New School tribe. Meanwhile, we have our alliance with Bob and Fabio and Todd's alliance number 1 with Earl and Mike Holloway and Tommy. And then their alliance number 2 that is with JT and Chris Underwood. Do you think that Cochran just felt like, okay, JT and Chris Underwood, it's getting too bro-y here. I don't want a part of this.
No, but Cochran loved to go to the bar, right? And hang out with the three amigos. So you could imagine he tried to dust off that cowboy hat and put it on once more. And maybe it didn't work, to your point.
Okay. All right. Let's go to our immunity challenge. And it looks like New School is going to win immunity. Pillows, blankets, and chairs for the New Schoolers.
And Fabio is dismayed to find that there are no socks. He's
No
hoping
socks.
for a Krista Hasty type to like make socks out of pillowcases for him.
A sewing machine. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move to what's going on the beach for the Old School tribe. Now, Brian Heidick and Richard having a fight. What do you think that's about, Mike?
I think it's about who had the worst time in prison.
I don't know if Brian Heidick went to prison, did he?
I don't know. I guess who had the worst arrest record, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Brian and Chris. Oh, boy. Brian is like a tornado out there, and he's fighting with Chris.
Yeah, I think maybe he's trying to purposely draw focus on himself to distract from any other people that he's willing to protect. I can imagine that Brian also seeks out Chris as like a similar BSer, and he feels like there can be only one, and so he's really trying to get in his head.
Okay. All right. We have our single-digit alliance. Even though Brian is in the alliance, the single-digit alliance with Chris and Richard, and just had a fight with them, they're still good. But Vesepia left the alliance. Too much drama.
Exactly. She's saying it's Mata Amu all over again. She's losing challenges. She doesn't want to be part of these guys gunning for one another. She's going to become her own free agent because she knows she's not going to be targeted much anymore with all these big guys going for one another.
Yeah, V is not a part of this. Okay.
V is leaving.
She's leaving. Okay, so she's going to be a part of a different alliance. We have Aris, Jenna Maraska, Sandra, and V. Okay, new alliance.
Interesting. Aris's Angels.
Okay, Aris's Angels are here. Aris voted for Tom Westman at the last time out, and now he has picked up Jenna Maraska, Sandra, and Vesepia.
And I love that they're all out of 5 except for Sandra, who's out of 4, because that's very Sandra, right? I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, I'll be with you. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We know that Bob has an idol. Todd and Tommy have a small fight.
Oh my goodness! I bet it's on Survivor trivia that they're big super fans. They're trying to quiz one another, but they've got a minor discrepancy wrong about Survivor Guatemala, and now it's just irreconcilable differences.
Okay. A little bit of a fight there. Okay. So we have this alliance where it was the two bros, Chris and JT, with Bob and Judd and Todd, who would be make an alliance with anybody. Now JT has left the alliance. Maybe he's like. Cochran was right. This
is a sinking ship.
Yeah. So now that Bob and Fabio and Todd, that their second alliance is just with Chris Underwood.
I can imagine this is like when you're at a bad party and people are like slowly and systematically leaving, and Chris is that one person that's just completely oblivious to it and just hanging around eating the snacks.
Yeah. Chris is like, hey, this is so cool. I'm in an alliance with 4 people. Oh my God.
Hey, I made it past episode 3.
Yeah. Well, it's not over yet. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, but they're not going to Tribal Council. So Old School Tribe is headed off to Tribal Council number 3. There is no immunity idol that's going to be found. Mike, do you have a prediction? Who is going out here?
I think it's going to be one of the single-digit people. I feel like V flipping over with Jenna and Aris and Sandra is going to bear out. Even though they're only 4 out of 9, I feel like you could just swing one more person over, swing in Tom, who's not part of the single-digit people, and be able to take out one of Brian, Chris, Richard, or Tina.
I think it's going to be Tom Westman. Aris wanted Tom out at the last time. Now he picks up Jenna and Sandra and V. And then also at the same time that the single digit people, like, okay, let's vote out Tom Westman. He won season 10. That's double digits. He's not with us. So I think that everybody could be on the page. I could see this being maybe 8-1 against Tom Westman.
Oh, it's a numbers game quite literally in this case, depending on your season number.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and see our votes. No advantages, no idols to be had here at this Tribal Council.
Very Old School Tribe in that regard.
Yes. Okay. First vote, Tom Westman.
Ooh.
Aris.
Oh, the rivalry has been reignited.
Tom.
Mm.
Tom.
Ooh.
Tom,
Wow.
the tribe has spoken. It was that
You're
8-1 vote. That one,
Wow,
8-1
that's
vote.
why you're a know-it-all, Rob. That's why you're a know-it-all.
I had my finger on the pulse of this old school tribe. Again, as an old school player, that I'm in their heads. I know how they think.
Wow. So you really think it was just that Tom and Aris were still butting heads, and it just was agreed on as another consensus vote of like, let's squash this beef all at the same time. The single digits are able to get rid of another person.
Just made too much sense. You had two groups that both wanted the same thing. So I think that's what happened there. So for Tom Westman, amazingly, is this a worse finish than on Heroes versus Villains?
Yeah, he finished in 18th here instead of, I think he finished in 16th in Heroes versus Villains. So yeah, he's taking the real JT route, it seems, unfortunately. Tom could just never recover. Do you think maybe one of the reasons why him and Aris didn't get along is because he saw a bit of Ian Rosenberger in Aris and thought that Aris would throw the game to him at the last minute?
Maybe. He might. I mean, Aris wanted to go to the final 3 with Suri back in Panama. So final 2 even. So there you go. All right. Old School Tribe down to 8 members. New School Tribe has 9. Let's talk about what's going on here on the Old School Beach. We have our single-digit alliance, which is without V. Then we also have the alliance, which came together to vote out Tom Westman with Aris's Angels, Jenna Maraska, Sandra, and V. Meanwhile, at the New School Tribe, we still have the stronger alliance of Bob and Fabio and Todd with Earl, Mike Holloway, and Tommy.
And so right now they're basically just stringing Chris Underwood.
And then also another alliance where they're stringing along Chris Underwood.
Yeah, and Chris is at a 3, though, so it seems like he's finally coming around to the idea that maybe these guys aren't working for his betterment.
All right, this time around, Old School Tribe is going to win immunity. So we will be back to 8-8 when the New School Tribe votes somebody out. But let's check in on the beach here. And so Aris and Sandra are having a major fight.
I'm surprised it took Sandra 4 episodes to get into a major fight with somebody.
Yeah, I definitely could see her getting into a fight with Aris.
Yeah, and especially if Aris is starting to bring like his yogi, that type of stuff.
All right.
Sandra just is completely done with it.
Let's get a circle together and
wait, I know Tom was our fireman before him, but I can light our fire. Let's just all put our hands together and feel that energy humming. And it cuts to Sandra just like rolling her eyes.
You know what? I can get loud too. What the?
Okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah, it's a real, obviously she has a type of people she bristles against. Johnny Fairplay, Russell Hance, Otis. Real just a murderer's row of worst enemies for Sandra.
Okay. Lasting impact. Also, then Aris and Tina bond strongly. I mean, that has been a well-documented friendship for a long time. Aris and Tina going back to Survivor Blood versus Water, that Tyson called that out. Did you guys have a Winners Alliance here? No need for the Winners Alliance pregame, but Aris and Tina have the very strong bond.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? They're finally going to come back together and be like, okay, like, we're actually going to do it this time, right? There's no wily people at the merge to take us out. There's no brothers or daughters to get in the way. We're finally going to be able to get to the end the way we wanted to initially.
Yeah. Is Aris's Angels over if Sandra and Aris are fighting?
No, I mean, I think that, Sandra fights with her allies. And I think that maybe Tina can sort of be the Bosley in Aris's Angels.
Okay. All right. So meanwhile, it looks like that even though we see that Sandra is down to a loyalty 4 that's matched by the rest of the alliance except for V, Jenna Maraska is out on Aris's Angels.
Maybe she feels like, these people do not have the younger, hotter bodies, and so I'm
Come on, Mike. That was a long time ago.
And that was Heidi, I guess, technically speaking.
That was. Okay. All right. Let's check in with the New School Tribe, which is going to Tribal Council. We know that Bob has the idol. Fabio and Todd have something in common. Okay. Let's explore this.
Mike, what could that be?
All right. What do you think that Fabio and Todd have in common, Mike?
They both have an O in their name? I'm not sure.
I could see them getting along. I could see it.
Todd gets along with a lot of people, and I could see, like, I could honestly see Todd, like, grooming him like an Aaron Riceberger type. Of, he's someone who's, like, an athletic guy that seems affable enough to get along with.
Do you think that Todd also enjoys peeing in the pool?
Yeah, you know what? That's probably what they were bonding over. How many times did you screw up your friend's pool by peeing in it?
Yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, Bob and Fabio, a strong bond. Okay, so it looks like that Bobbio is back on.
Is this the power couple right now, Bobbio?
It is, also, it's like basically like it's a trifecta. It's Bob, it's Fabio, it's Todd. But it does feel like that Fabio is more in the middle. That it's like Fabio is the glue between the Fabio, Todd, and Bob. They all have that sound.
Yeah, and glue will also give you a significant high. So that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, JT and Earl are having a bond. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, JT is looking for any out right now. I feel like he can sort of turn on the good old boy that everyone fell in love with JT, Alabama JT back in Token Chains, and I feel like Earl would bite.
Okay. We've got our new school alliance here. Okay, that's
someone going to leave here?
Well, we'll see. Bob and Todd and Fabio are with Earl and Mike Holloway and Tommy, but Mike Holloway is walking away from this alliance.
Yeah, I think he's someone who Mike has a general sense of like sniffing out trouble, and maybe he already like got a whiff of it and decided that this was not right for him. Maybe he also looked at the Bob, Fabio, Todd of it all and realized that since he's already on the outside of that triad, he has to start forging his own path in true Mike Holloway fashion.
And maybe he might have accused this group that they want to vote him out, and then they were like, "Oh, everybody, Mike's crazy. Mike's paranoid."
Yeah, exactly. And like, oh, you saw Mike was gonna, we were gonna get letters at Tree Mail, and Mike said he didn't want to, and so we have to blame him for it. He's our new enemy now.
All right. So let's take a look at our new school tribe heading into tribal council. Somebody is going home. Mike, do you have a prediction who it might be?
I think it's going to be Chris Underwood.
Chris Underwood.
I think it's Chris Underwood or Cochran. I mean, it depends. Do we think that the Fabio triad will be able to string Chris Underwood along, feel like he's a free vote? Because if that's the case, maybe they'll go for someone like Cochran. Maybe JT's last minute pitch to Earl ended up paying off, but I don't know. I could see them cut Chris here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Chris Underwood, only because that it would seem foolish for Bob and Fabio and Todd. They've put all this time into cultivating Chris Underwood. It would seem foolish to let him go, where you have Cochran, who's a free agent. Mike Holloway just walked away from that alliance. I feel like it's Cochran. I feel like that he's the one person that doesn't have the connections and could be another easy person to talk the group into.
Right, but I don't know, because the old school people have definitely been more consensus. The new school people, as we remember, it was a split 6-4 vote last time, and they've had a couple of votes to really marinate in that. It could be another wild and crazy vote this time around.
Okay, but Chris Underwood at least has the connections to Bob and to Fabio and to Todd, and then also we saw JT bonding with Earl, so maybe that's enough to save him. Let's get to the votes. First vote, Mr. Crowley. Bob, Bob is...
Oh, no, Bob has the idol, and he...
Sorry about that.
Wants to play it or not.
Okay, all right. No idol.
Okay.
JT. First vote. Cochran. That's 3 votes for Cochran.
Oh, no.
Cochran. And Cochran, the tribe has spoken. 8-1.
Unanimous vote against Cochran.
Yes, so Cochran is out here. 4th.
Wow. Is he going to pen a song in Ponderosa called New School, You Screwed Me Over?
Yeah, for Cochran, that he was on the wrong side of the Natalie White vote, and then he ends up walking away from that alliance that he had with JT and Chris Underwood, and then Bob and Fabio and Todd. That threesome needs a nickname also.
Yeah, I think it's like, should we do like Tabio?
Tabio?
Merge their names together, Tabio.
I feel like that's just Todd and Fabio. I feel like the Bob is it. It's like, it should be like Tababio?
I think Tababio could work. Tababio sounds like an off-brand pasta sauce that you'd find at like a bodega.
Okay.
You'll be having spaghetti covered in Tababio.
All right. So Cochran is gone. At least Stephen Fishback's heart can be all focused on JT at this point.
Do you think Cochran's going to pen a Survivor show about his experiences for CBS coming up after this?
Well, I think that maybe you get maybe a thought of maybe why Cochran wasn't so eager to come back for Winners at War.
Right, exactly. He very much foresaw this Brant Steele like.
Yeah, like, oh, fourth person out. Okay, that sounds about right. I think I'll just stay home and work. Okay, so I think that Cochran, finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Do you think Cochran would skip out on Ponderosa to come back and go into the writer's room?
I think so. For the writer's room for this podcast or the writer's room for Star Trek?
Well, he's got to work on that Tony Vlachos sitcom now that he's back in the forefront, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I need to reach out to Cochran because I think that he's due for a podcast appearance every 3 years by my calendar.
Exactly. Like it's almost like you have to wake him up from his cryogenic sleep where he's surrounded by Kit Kat wrappers.
I think also that I think every 3 years Tony comes back and then also Cochran comes on the podcast. So I have to remind him.
It's really they're really linked in a way that nobody can really understand. Plus he has the Sophie connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have to remind him. You said call you in 3 years. That's okay. All right. Let's go to our 5th episode of the season.
And I believe we are splitting up here. Old school and new school are merging the waters to just regular school here. We're mixing grades.
Okay. All right. Before we get to that, Mike, let me just quickly take a moment and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. We'll have a few days under our belts here, and it's been a long time since these survivors have gotten to brush their teeth. They've got that grimy feeling in their mouths, a feeling that you would never experience if you were the user of a Quip. The Quip electric toothbrush wants you to know that one single discovery that matters the most for your dental care is simply this: if you have good habits, you're going to be good. Because going on Survivor, that's a bad habit. You don't want to do that. That is very bad for your dental hygiene. But if you just...
I was going to say, like, did you clarify just for your dental hygiene, right? It's not a bad habit.
Well, and for your overall hygiene, it's also not good. There's lots of things not good about that. But good habits mean things like brushing for 2 minutes twice a day, flossing regularly, no matter what brand you use. And Quip makes that simple with their electric toothbrush, refillable floss, and anti-cavity toothpaste, because the Quip electric brush has a sensitive sonic vibration with a built-in timer and 30-second pulses to guide a full and even clean. I love using my Quip, Mike, because then it reminds me, has like a little pulse that tells me, time to move on to the next quadrant. So I know that I'm giving each of the 4 quadrants of my mouth the attention that I'm supposed to.
That makes sense, right? It's like you're in an alliance with your teeth. You're trying to keep all your allies, all 32 of them, in a row. You don't want any to turn yellow and feel neglected, because then they're going to rebel against you, and that's how a root canal develops.
Yeah, not to mention that the Quip electric... Sorry about that. The Quip floss dispenser comes with a pre-marked string to help you just enough. Plus, Quip delivers a fresh brush head, floss, and toothpaste refills to your door every 3 months without shipping. So your routine is always right, just like the routine of Cochran being on the podcast every 3 years. Join over 3 million healthy mouths and get Quip today, starting at $25. And if you get quip.com/Rob, that's the address. Getquip.com/Rob. Right now, you get your first refill for free. That's your first free refill at getquip.com/Rob. That's GETQUIP.com/Rob. Quip, the good habits company. Okay.
And hopefully people are brushing their teeth with more frequency than Cochran coming back to Rob as a
You would hope
podcast.
so. You would hope so. Okay. All right. We are going to have a tribe swap coming up, Mike. We are going to 3 tribes. We have our old school and our new school, tribes of 8. Let's see what new buffs we're going to get. Okay, first, we've got a twist. And as part of the twist, one cast member is going to be exiled, and it is, so far, a person who has been the star of the season. Fabio is going to be off to Exile Island.
Yes, so Fabio is going to be...
Bummer, dude. This sucks.
Wait a minute, I got a black one. What does that mean? So he's sent off on his own. I can only imagine what mischief he's going. He's probably going to end up in traction if he goes off on his own for a little while. But yeah, Fabio,
Man.
though he does end up with a chance at the idol nullifier, I believe. So we'll see if he can figure out how to find that, if he can find the right coconut.
And there would be no better hands for the idol nullifier to be in the possession of than Fabio. Okay.
Yeah, he would play it as an idol.
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, so Fabio's going to have the chance to find the idol nullifier. He does not find the idol nullifier.
Wow, that is the biggest surprise I've ever experienced.
What? I couldn't even find it.
What? It was a coconut?
What? Okay. No idol nullifier for you, Fabio. Okay.
No, unfortunately. But he's still in a good position. I guess, actually, no, he might not be depending on the tribe he ends up on. Let's remember, he's going to replace the person who goes home in this episode.
Yes. All right. So let's see. We have our 3 tribes, Mike. We have our 3 tribes, the Jimmy Fallon tribe, the Sia tribe, and the Tyler Perry tribe, the holy trinity of celebrity Survivor superfans. Of course, on our Jimmy Fallon tribe, we have Chris, Richard, Sandra, V, and teaching time with Tommy. So this is a very similar situation to the time that Tommy ended up on the wrong side of the numbers. I believe it was at the final 11 in Survivor Island of the Idols. And instead of being swapped with 4 members from the original Lyro tribe, he is now swapped with 4 members from the original Old School tribe.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's praying for that orange curse to hold up in this case. I mean, Sandra and V, these were people that were all in the single digits alliance, actually, except for Sandra. Sandra and V were part of Aris's Angels, so it seems like there are some bonds going on. Tommy could be used as a swing vote if some schisms do develop, but otherwise, I mean, he is pretty screwed right here at the moment.
Although he could say, hey, I played an Old School game.
I'm like one of you. I'm just a little bit younger.
Yes. All right. Meanwhile, on the Sia tribe, we are going to see Old Schoolers, Aris and Jenna Maraska. They are going to be down in the numbers as Bob Crowley, Chris Underwood, and JT. So the 2 bros, this is sort of like when Hot Cop Dan and the mayor of Slamtown were together. These 2 brochachos.
Brochachos 2.0.
Yes. They are with Jenna Maraska, Aris, and Bob Crowley.
So this is an interesting situation. I could very easily see Aris and Jenna selling each other under the bus because let's remember they were in an alliance that Jenna very quickly left. We also know that Bob has been stringing Chris along. It was an alliance that JT left. So there's a lot of options running around at this point. To have 3 tribes of 5 is a really interesting dynamic because 3 is the magic number and there really is any sort of permutation that can come out of this group.
Okay, and then in the Tyler Perry tribe, we have our Old Schoolers, Brian Heidick and Tina, and they are going to be outnumbered by New Schoolers, Earl, Mike Holloway, and Todd.
It's notable that depending on, if Jimmy Fallon loses and Fabio goes over there, Tababio is split up.
Mm-hmm.
And that can mean some danger, or it can mean something great where they can sort of now disseminate their roles and recruit new allies, brigade style. So when things come back together, they'll have a super majority.
Okay, so very interesting tribe swap I think we have, Mike.
Yeah, it really seems like Tommy's the only one that's really on the other end of a really big disadvantage. Everyone else is balanced 3-2, and that can mean some very interesting votes coming up here.
This is sort of like in Game Changers also, that JT is like better Tommy than me to end up on the down in the numbers in the tribe that has Sandra's majority of everybody against 1.
Right, so if 2 of these tribes go to tribal council, is Tommy going to walk across and start whispering? Or is Tommy the teacher to be like, what's that whispering about?
Yes, so we're not going to have a combined tribal council here in David versus Goliath, but it would be interesting to see. Okay, let's go to what's going on the beach, the Jimmy Fallon tribe. Okay, so we are going...
You have to imagine Tommy's going to hunt for that idol, right?
You got to think so. Let's test his convictions here of, how much of a not an idol hunter is he?
Do you think Tommy feels like he has a reputation now? Like, nope, I can't have an idol. That's not my brand. That's not the Tommy brand.
Okay, so we see the people that are working here together just in terms of Tommy is by himself. Chris and Richard are the tighter parts of this group, and then Sandra and V. So Tommy could loom as a potential swing vote if either the guys, Chris and Richard, or the women, Sandra and V, want to pick him up.
Right. So I guess it also depends on, like, much like during David versus Goliath, who's going to be the first to cannibalize, because that's going to send a message across the bout to everyone else of like, yeah, it's okay to get rid of old school. It's okay to get rid of new school. Otherwise, they might just stick to tribal alliance here, in which case Tommy needs to be looking for that idol.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, on the Sia tribe, of course, Bob still has his idol. We know that Bob, he cultivated that relationship with Chris Underwood, so that could end up being important moving forward. And then no other alliances going on here on the Sia tribe.
Right. So a lot of free agents here, which means that I'm hoping this tribe goes to tribal council personally, because this is like the most exciting dynamic of the three.
Okay. Then over on the Tyler Perry tribe, Earl and Todd were in one of those versions of the Tababio alliance. So there's some framework there. Also, Brian Heidick and Tina, even though they had not been getting along great, if I recall correctly, then it was, or was Brian fighting with Richard and Chris?
Brian was fighting with a lot of people.
Yeah,
but I believe Tina was able to evade his ire.
So Brian Heidick and Tina have not had any smoke yet so far this season, so they're still working together.
Yes, exactly. And hopefully they're creating smoke, though, in the fire that they're building at this new camp.
Okay, somebody's going to win immunity. Somebody's going to come in second, and somebody's going to tribal council. It looks like Jimmy Fallon tribe wins immunity. They're going to win pastries, coffee, and iced coffee. Watch out for Sandra with coffee and all of the coffee fixings for that tribe. And then it looks like is this the
Tyler Perry tribe?
Tyler Perry tribe.
Wish.
Yes, Sia tribe is going to tribal council, and we will find out who we will be saying see ya later as they become the next person, the fifth player voted out of the game.
So do you think someone who's voted out of the Sia tribe puts themselves more in contention to get the Sia money, considering it is the titular tribe?
Yes. Okay. Meanwhile, we've talked about Sandra feuding with Aris earlier. She is now having a major meltdown. You would think she's up in the numbers, 4-1, but big meltdown for Sandra, maybe opening the door for Richard and Chris to bring Tommy Sheehan into their alliance.
And I'm pretty sure it was because somebody dumped out the Danishes like the fish did once upon a time, right?
Yes. All the fish that Rupert had left over from when he was there. Okay. Tommy and V have a small fight. Can't really see it, but okay.
All right, so I think we're starting to size up more that I think if Tommy is indeed in the middle of these two old school pairs, you're assuming he's going with Chris and Richard at this point.
You would think so. Okay. The Richard Christie alliance. All right. Then we have on the tribe, Aris, Sandra, and V. This alliance has dissolved. Now, Aris is not even on this tribe, correct?
Right, but I guess it's implying that Sandra and V have decided not to work with one another anymore.
Okay, so that alliance is dissolved. A rude awakening for Aris if he gets back together with them.
Well, you know what I can imagine, honestly? Now it's all coming together. I think Tommy spilled the Danishes and blamed it on V.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Sandra is mad. She doesn't want to work with anybody. She's not working with V. Tommy's feuding with V. So I think that either Sandra or V looks like they could be going out if this group goes to a tribal council.
Yeah, let's go to Sia tribe. So Bob has the idol. He's guaranteed safe. Though it seemed like he was safe anyway, just due to the connections that he had.
Chris Underwood, major meltdown. It's episode 5. He's in the game. He doesn't know what to do.
I don't know what to do at this point. The game, double-digit numbers? What do those mean?
Mm-hmm. Major meltdown for Chris Underwood. All right. Let's see what's going on here. We have an alliance here on the Sia tribe. Despite the major meltdown, Jenna Maraska is going to work with Aris and Chris Underwood. So Jenna and Aris, they were in Aris's Angels earlier in the season. They bring in Chris Underwood.
Yeah, so I guess it was a thing where maybe the reason why he had a major meltdown was he was getting tired of Bob. And in that case, Bob might surprisingly be in a situation where he needs to use his idol here. Because this is a 3. This is a 3 that could prevail and get rid of Bob or whoever else they want.
Okay. All right. Let's come back to the Sia tribe in a moment. Let's check in with the Tyler Perry tribe. Over at the Tyler Perry tribe, looks like that we had the single-digit alliance there, and Brian and Tina are on this tribe. But Brian Heidick is going to leave that alliance. So maybe bad news for Tina, maybe bad news for Brian.
I think Brian is eyeing his prospects. I mean, this is the first time he ever faced a swap, so he's looking at these people. He's getting to know their names, unlike Sheehan's, and he's like, okay, I'm seeing new prospects here. Let me ditch the lemon, and let me sort of pick up the Corvette that's now pulled up with these new schoolers.
Okay. All right. The Sia tribe. We have got 5 people. Bob has the hidden immunity idol. Could this be JT?
I could see it. Or I could see Bob being so confident and everyone else blindsides him and leaves him with going with an idol in pocket. But I think it's either Bob or JT going here, considering if this Aris, Chris, Jenna alliance sticks together super last minute. I think it's a new schooler going here no matter what.
Okay.
Especially knowing that Fabio is going to come in and replace one of them. You can imagine that they want to get rid of a new schooler.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that Chris had been working with Bob, but I feel like that he has the better relationship with JT. Let's see how this goes. And could Bob end up getting voted out with an idol in his pocket? Let's find out what Bob's going to do here. Bob has the idol, and it does not look like Bob is going to play it. First vote, JT.
Okay, well, maybe he made the right call here.
Aris. JT.
Ooh.
Aris.
Oh, it all comes down to Underwood. Let's see.
Aris, the tribe has
What?
spoken. Okay,
Underwood,
what happened?
You snake!
Underwood, that is one heavy snake. Okay.
Oh my God, what did he do? He just totally turned on the old schoolers.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Chris Underwood, that he ends up, he's stuck with the numbers. That don't forget, it was Bob, Chris Underwood, and JT. They did have the majority. They vote for Aris, even though Chris Underwood had been working with JT and Jenna Maraska. So it looks like that Jenna Maraska could be in big trouble if the Sia tribe goes back to tribal council, although she's been in worse spots before.
Absolutely. Though, it's also interesting, we are bringing in Fabio here as well.
Oh, yes, don't forget. Yes, so here comes Fabio, but another new schooler to join Jenna Maraska. And you know how these...
So now we have Jenna and Tommy are essentially mirrors of each other at this point in this mirror universe situation we've created already.
Yes, okay. So Jimmy Fallon tribe is 4 old school players and Tommy, Chris, Richard, Sandra, and V with Tommy. The Sia tribe is 4 new school players, Bob, Chris, JT, Fabio, and Jenna Maraska. 2/3 of Tababio is reunited on the Sia tribe. And then on the Tyler Perry tribe, we have old schoolers, Brian and Tina. They are down to the numbers against Earl, Mike Holloway, and Todd Herzog.
True to their David color, I do feel like we might start seeing a culling of old school players if either Sia or Tyler Perry goes to tribal council here.
Okay. It was a great season so far, Mike.
I'm really enjoying this. This is very true to the people that they got brought on. It really got kicked up a notch here at the swap. We got very lucky with the swap numbers here.
We can only hope Winners at War is this good.
Yeah, absolutely. With no currency going around right now. Maybe that was the reason why Rupert got voted out. He was trying to use fish
Fire
heads
tokens, fish head tokens.
To show that he's like, I'm just like you. I can reinvent the game.
Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Back on the beach, of course, Tommy is all alone. Chris and Richard, they are working together. No alliance for Sandra and V. Meanwhile, on the Sia tribe, Bob and Fabio, 2/3 of Tababio still together. Chris Underwood, that fake alliance that they made with Chris Underwood is paying dividends. It
really is. It paid off very well for them. Because, again, I think that had this not existed, Chris could have very easily flipped on them and gone with the old schoolers last time.
Yep. Fabio, Bob, and Chris Underwood, they have the majority. Jenna Maraska is all alone here. 3 guys working together. Jenna Maraska all by herself. Doesn't seem like she has much of a shot.
Well, I don't know. We're looking at these numbers, though, and it seems like if there's a 5 strength there, Chris might be more loyal to Jenna than he is Bob and Fabio. Chris only has a loyalty of 4 in his new school alliance, but with Jenna, he has a 5. So it could be possible that Chris might want to try to rustle some numbers together here and try to, swing things over one round sooner than he really should have.
All right, here we go. Jenna Maraska, is she up to her old tricks? Is she
wants
trying
to quit?
No, Mike, come on. Is Jenna Maraska going to be able to get Chris Underwood wrapped around her finger? Because the Chris Underwood and Jenna Maraska, now that Aris is out of the picture, is this alliance real?
Yeah, maybe that could be a thing as well, that maybe Chris wanted to get rid of Aris because he felt threatened by him. I felt a similar position. But no, not to make a reference to All-Stars Jenna. I was thinking
I know. Either way, Mike. Uncalled for.
I'm hitting too close to home there. But yeah, this could be the thing where Aris actually needed to go so that Chris and Jenna could be more brought together. Maybe they're the more chemistry-filled pairing at this point. And now Chris feels like he can move forward with her.
Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on over at Tyler Perry. Okay. Brian has found the Tyler Perry hidden immunity idol.
Yes, he basically was saying, hey guys, let's take a golfing trip. I stole some of Clay's clubs. Everyone goes out and has a good time. And while they're doing that, Brian sneaks around and finds his own Tyler Perry idol.
Okay.
But not the Tyler Perry idol, just an idol that happens to exist on the Tyler Perry tribe.
The Tyler Perry tribe idol. Very good distinction. Okay. Earl and Todd have an alliance here. Tina is all by herself. Brian has the idol. This is not looking great for Tina right now.
Yeah, Brian could very easily be like, oh, you don't understand. Tina has an alliance with people on the other tribe. I don't. I'm the guy you want to go with here.
Okay. All right. So we have our challenge, and it looks like that once again, look, the hot tribe stays hot. Jimmy Fallon tribe wins immunity again.
They win reward. They get 3 hens and a rooster.
3 hens and a rooster for the Jimmy Fallon tribe. So we will find out which tribe came in second and who's going to tribal council. The tribe that came in second is the Tyler Perry tribe, and the Sia tribe is going back to tribal council. A real insult to injury, as the Sia tribe is going to tribal council, and tribes are winning hens and roosters and eggs.
Oh, could it be the curse of the name that like Sia turns down the idea of chickens being a reward on?
They refused.
So it couldn't be one.
They actually came in second. They said we would rather go to tribal council than have these paltry rewards.
Yeah, we get poultry and poultry.
Okay. All right. Jenna Maraska is in a real predicament. We'll have to see how she's going to be able to try to...
Wait, actually, that was a reward challenge.
Oh, reward challenge. That was just a reward challenge. Okay, sorry, everybody.
So we can make sense why they would want to give it up then.
First reward challenge of the season for us. Threw us off. Okay.
All right, so now we have the immunity challenge here, but it looks like Tyler Perry is going to surprisingly finish in first for 1. So that means Brian, Earl, Mike, Tina, and Todd are safe. Good for Brian, and actually especially good for Tina, who was probably going to be going home if they went to tribal council. Okay,
and then let's see, the tribe that came in second is going to be, the Sia tribe. They are going to win immunity.
Tommy!
All right. So that looked very dire for Jenna Maraska, but it turns out that she's actually going to be immune for this round. It is going to be the Jimmy Fallon tribe that is going to our tribal council number 6.
Will someone find the idol this time, Rob? Now that they're going to tribal council, we shall see.
We'll see if anybody also tries to obtain a jacket at this tribal council. All right.
Ooh.
V has found the Jimmy Fallon hidden immunity idol.
Makes sense. She seems to be the most in tune with the modern day franchise. She even wanted to be on the island of the idols, and she's one step there by having an idol herself.
Okay, so V has the idol. This could be bad news for Sandra. Richard has a meltdown, though.
I think he finally realized, I can't keep these clothes on. Tyler Perry, I know I'm not on your tribe, but damn it.
I thought Tyler Perry wants the survivors to wear less clothes.
Or was it that he just doesn't want them to wear swimsuits specifically?
I'm not sure. Okay, so major meltdown there for Richard Hatch over on the Jimmy Fallon tribe. Okay, all right. Meanwhile, on the Sia tribe, Bob has his idol, and now JT and Chris Underwood are having a little bit of a fight. Could this maybe open the door for JT to go out and Jenna to stay?
A bro-chacho breakup is happening right now before our very eyes.
Okay. Lasting impact for the bro-chacho fight.
There are really any fights that just become like water under the bridge.
It was fleeting. Yeah, we never have seen that yet. Everything has a lasting impact. All right. Then, over on the Tyler Perry tribe, we see that Brian, he has the idol. Mike Holloway is impressing the rest of the team. Now, we haven't talked about Mike Holloway in a minute, Mike Bloom, but he seems to be redeeming himself in the eyes of the Tyler Perry group.
Right, let's remember he did not make a good first impression with some of these old schoolers. He ticked them off on the Tyler Perry tribe, but I guess their winning streak has made them sort of endear themselves to Mike Holloway. He's impressing them with his dancing. He's trying to do Rodney's impression of him, which seems very circuitous, but it seems like Mike is becoming a bit of a class clown of the Tyler Perry tribe, which I don't know exactly if that plays well with this group, but it's playing well to somebody.
All right. So we have our alliance that's been going on with, we had Tababio with Tommy and Earl. Earl has left Tababio. Earl is not working with Tababio anymore.
Could it be that he was one of the people that really fell in love with Mike? It seems like Earl actually is playing a lot with his heart this time out. Like he's falling in love with JT.
He's a dad now.
He's falling in love with Mike Holloway. Like he just has his heart wide open. And so, he's looking at Mike and decides, I want to go with him. I'm with Todd on this tribe, but I'm not feeling great about him, especially as compared to like how close he is to Bob and Fabio. Let me go with Mike here and see how far he can take me.
Okay. This could be bad news for Todd.
Yes, it could be. Even though, again, they're not going to tribal council. But again, we're going to have, I think, one more tribal council before the merge. And that's really a time where anyone's up for grabs.
Okay. All right. So now we also have Earl and Mike Holloway. Yeah.
It's a one strength, but it's a start.
It's the start. It's something. It's something there. So maybe
Colaway is a thing now.
Colaway, if they could maybe get either Brian Heidick or Tina on their same page. I feel like Tina would probably fit along better with this twosome. If they want to knock out Todd, that is a potential way they could go. But let's get back to our tribal council here. And we know that V has the idol. Tommy is on the outs in terms of the original tribes. We saw Sandra have a meltdown. Mike, what's happening here at Tribal Council number 6?
I think it's going to be Sandra. I think she's going to go in the exact same spot she went, or a version of her went in Survivor Game Changers somehow, where V has the idol, and I think Tommy's going to side with the guys here. And I think Sandra, unfortunately, much like Cochran, striking out on your own is not something you want to do this season, especially in such a small tribe.
Does V need to play her idol here?
I don't think so. I think it's something she can be. V is someone who is a very calm, composed person. I could totally imagine her wanting to be patient with this idol rather than just sort of like bombastically spend it without even needing to and drawing unwanted eyes on her.
I think V needs to play her idol here. I think that it's a coin flip of that. If Tommy is with the guys, I think it's a coin flip of whether it's going to be Sandra or V.
Right, but Sandra had the major meltdown, and again, she thinks this old school mentality is get rid of those who don't fit in, and
I don't know.
She fits in here.
I don't know. If it was me, I don't know if I would stake my Survivor game on that. Sandra had the meltdown, so it's probably not going to be me tonight.
I guess that's true, yeah, but that's worked out with her for her 100% of the time, and 0% of the time for anybody else.
Okay, all right. Let's see what V is going to do here. V has the idol, and does not look like she plays it. First vote is for Tommy.
Okay.
Sandra. Sandra.
Oh, no. The queen.
Sandra 1.0 is voted out. Mike, you were right that she did not. V knows what she's doing. Does not need to play her idol. She felt good about it. They knew they had the numbers. Not only that, V also flipped. I guess V was working with the guys. Then she put her vote on Sandra. They were like, hey, we're voting for Sandra tonight. She felt good enough about it. Didn't need to play her idol. Saves it for a rainy day. That could pay big dividends for V later. Sandra ends up out of the game. Sliding doors Sandra. Even though she's the alternate universe Sandra that didn't play in Game Changers, she still gets that was in the universe.
Right.
To go out in this spot.
It's one of those things where maybe the timelines matched up in that exact moment during Game Changers, and that's why Sandra happened to have on the wrong side of that swap during season 34. I mean, V is essentially taking Sandra's game here. She essentially pulled it as long as it's not me move and turned on one of Aris's former angels.
And then also, as Sandra was getting up to leave, V tried to ask Sandra, could I get your jacket? Sandra?
And she goes, F no.
Sandra?
And throws it in the fire.
All right, so Pearl Islands is off the board here, even though they had 2 representatives. That Sandra is off on the pre-jury trip with Natalie White and with Rupert
Cochran.
Cochran and Tom Westman. What a wild trip.
crew.
Yeah, what a wild trip. Okay, all right. So we've got one more vote here before we get to the merge here in
I know, we should also say kudos to Tommy for being able to worm his way in here.
He did it again. That's his specialty.
That's his thing. Worm in the apples like it given to teachers. Yeah, old school turned on old school here. And this is, the previous vote, the new school people just took out an old schooler and Aris, but
Yeah.
I think the old schoolers sent a message here, much like they did when they got rid of Natalie Cole in David versus Goliath.
Yeah, Mike, just wait until I sit down with Tommy after the season for the deep dive, and you're gonna really hear about this.
You can't even imagine. I got Sandra out, the queen.
Yes, and by Sarah Lucina's rules, does that make these players the greatest players of all time, or
Yeah,
there's
they're all
only one
tied.
time winner, Sandra?
They're all tied for first place right now in the rankings.
Okay. All right. Then let's go to our final round of play before we get to the merge here in this season. Here we go. Our Jimmy Fallon tribe is down to just 4 people, but don't forget Vesepia, who could be the likely target. She does have an idol in her pocket, so watch out for that. We could also see that the old school players coming together now that V voted with them and voting against Tommy.
Yeah, especially with the merge coming around.
Over on the Sia tribe, Jenna Maraska in hot water, but maybe JT could be somebody else that ends up getting targeted here. And we talked about the potential situation for Todd over at the Tyler Perry tribe as we have, what are we calling?
Colaway.
Colaway.
Which sounds like, I don't know, some sort of digestion product that you would find in the bodega with the Tababio.
Okay. Colaway. Brian Heidick and Tina are the old schoolers there. Could be trouble for Todd. All right, let's go to our reward challenge, or these are our alliances on the beach. Okay, this is a lot of business to get through here, and the post swap game.
In the pre-merge.
Okay, all right. We know our alliances here on the Jimmy Fallon tribe. Basically, it's Richard and Chris, and then also Tommy and V are sort of the 2 people that are not in the alliance. Then we have over on the Sia tribe, we have Bob and Fabio. They've been together. They're still working with Chris Underwood. Jenna Maraska is off on her own. Chris Underwood and Jenna Maraska have been very friendly so far.
Yep, absolutely. They're sort of cultivating something there. Though, again, we'll see if that turns out to be something real, considering the last time Chris made a commitment, he balked on it in front of Jenna.
Not a showmance also. Chris Underwood is a happily married man, okay, people?
Absolutely.
Just a friendship, okay? Then, meanwhile, Brian Heidick with the Tyler Perry idol, and we see that alliance, the Colaway alliance. So let's get to our reward challenge here in episode number 7, and the Tyler Perry tribe is going to win immunity.
What are they going to win? Cooking utensils, herbs, spices, and kebabs.
Kebabs, okay. Kebab Crowley, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Bob thrust the air in excitement about that, even though he did not win the kebabs.
And then second place, kebabs for the Jimmy Fallon tribe. So ironically,
Sia tribe. Maybe they were chicken kebabs, and that's why again they had to
veggie
abdicate.
kebabs. Yeah. And so yes, the Sia tribe, Bob Crowley. No kebabs for Bob.
No, they already have a Bob, though, so I guess they win, too.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to our immunity challenge. Who cares about the reward in Brant Steele? All right, so this is the big tribe that this was where, like, Mike White and Learsa and Nick Wilson and Angelina, it was like a disaster.
Yeah, that was the big saucer challenge, remember, where they had to carry the big stone thing with water to fill up a trough?
This time, Jimmy Fallon tribe is going to win immunity. So Chris, Richard, Tommy, and V are going to the merge. In second place, it's going to be the Sia tribe. So Bob,
Jenna,
Chris,
nice.
JT, Jenna Maraska, and Fabio are going to the merge. But it will be the Tyler Perry tribe that will go to our final tribal council before the merge, Mike.
Wow, very, very millennials versus Gen X, with each one of the swap tribes going to tribal council once.
All right. So meanwhile, over on the Jimmy Fallon tribe, Tommy is impressing the team.
Yeah, I think the more time he spent, the more he was able to turn up that social charm. And, he's really also has a significant age discrepancy compared to everyone else he's playing with. So I think they could very easily look at him as like the little brother.
Even though he's impressing the rest of the team, Chris Daughtery, that he is having a minor disagreement with Tommy.
Well, we know that Chris is not a fan of younger guys on his tribe.
Doesn't like it. Lasting impact also.
Of course.
Okay.
Oh, Rob, the single-digit alliance is over.
It's over. Now, I don't really understand why it's over, that Tommy is impressing everybody so much that Richard Hatch is like, hey, I really like this young guy. I think that let's break up the single-digit crew.
Or it could be that they're like, okay, Tina's automatically gone. Like, let's cut our losses here, and who cares about Jenna? But even then, it seems like Chris and Richard themselves are no longer in an alliance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe they're really planning for the merge, even though it has yet to come.
Yeah. I do believe that both Richard Hatch and Tommy were at the famous Dominic Abate summer pool party, so maybe they hit it off there.
Exactly. Some nice pre-gaming of like, okay, we're going to go off into our split winter seasons here. Let's do some pre-gaming.
Yes. The Richard Hatch has to keep his clothes on rule was not enforced at that party either, from what I heard.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay. All right. Then let's go to what's going on over at the Sia tribe. Chris Underwood is leaving the Tababio alliance. So I wonder, it seems like that this alliance with Jenna Maraska seems like it's getting more and more legs.
Yeah, it looks like, again, he's someone else who's looking forward to the merge. I think it took about 2 weeks, but I think Chris has finally realized, hey, these guys might not be in it for Chris Underwood. I have to do what's best for Chris Underwood.
Doing what's best for Underwood. All right. And this might be a good time to leave the alliance if Todd ends up being the player that gets voted out. Could be a good time to walk away from Tababio.
Here.
Yeah. All right. So Chris Underwood jumping ship from that alliance. And then let's get to the Tyler Perry tribe. They will have...
No significant change up here. Looks like Brian has the idol. I think we had Colaway here. Depends. I think those two actually. I think Earl and Mike are really the swing votes here. They could go new school with Todd. They could swing over one of the old schoolers and vote against like Tina or Brian. They could join up with the old schoolers and vote out Todd. They're the two who have the power here.
We've been talking about Todd is in trouble. I don't see it, Mike, because that we have Colaway happening, but at no point did it seem like that either Tina or Brian were able to crack Colaway. I feel like that Todd at least is from the new school tribe. I'm not sure. I mean, this is very similar to what happened in David versus Goliath, where there was the decision, okay, do we vote out, do we go after Angelina here? Do we go, and Mike White was like, I don't want to vote out a Goliath. Do we vote out Lyrsa? And ultimately, it was, Nick ended up going with the side to vote off one of the Davids. So this is going to be, I think, a big factor in terms of an old school or a new school person going home. I think it'll be maybe Tina or maybe Brian, and maybe Brian plays his idol.
I'm thinking Brian plays his idol here. I feel like Brian is somebody who is sharky enough to like play it the first chance he gets. And so I don't know if he needs to play it, but I feel like he is a very crafty person, but I feel like it's such a new experience for him that he wants to get it out of his hands as quickly as possible.
All right, let's see what happens. Brian Heidick has that idol. If anybody has the idol, it's time to do so. Does not look like Brian Heidick plays the idol. First vote, Mike Holloway.
Interesting.
Todd.
Uh-oh.
Mike Holloway.
Oh, okay.
Todd. We're tied.
Ooh.
Seventh player voted out of Survivor Winners apiece. Todd Herzog.
Wow.
We saw that Todd was in trouble. I thought that the tribal lines would hold. But Tina, who do you think voted with Colaway, first off?
I think I could see Brian voting with them.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I could see Brian working with Todd because I feel like feels like Todd could be a shield for him. And I could see Tina hopping over to work with
Brian voted for Todd.
I
So it
was
looks
wrong.
like that Brian is in on Colaway. I could see Tina having more of a relationship with Todd.
It could also
So
be something where maybe Todd was sort of jockeying to get rid of Mike, saying like, okay, it's right before the merge. We know Mike's going to crush these challenges. Let's get rid of him now. And Tina sort of bought that pitch, but Brian was not selling. Or not buying what he was selling. And so he decided to work with Colaway here to make sure Todd goes out. The new schoolers were probably selling him of like, no, you don't understand. He's super tight with Bob and Fabio. Like, we need to cut them off at the knees right at the merge.
yeah. So Todd Herzog is out. Tababio is gone. Back to just Bobbio. And Tina and Brian Heidick seemed like that there was a fracture there. They were not on the same page.
Yeah, interestingly enough. So again, you could say that an old schooler didn't go here, which is good news for the old schoolers, but at the same time, they didn't vote together. And I think it really shows that single digits is gone now. They're all the old schoolers really seem to be like thrown to the wind, where the new schoolers seem to at least have some sort of loose coalition together. And we'll see if that ends up, bearing out as we get into the merge here when things are sure to hit the fan.
All right, so we have our 3 tribes here, 4 members from the Jimmy Fallon tribe, 5 members from the Sia tribe, and 4 members from the Tyler Perry tribe. Just one last time, those post-swap tribes were Chris, Richard, Tommy, and V were Jimmy Fallon, Bob, Chris Underwood, JT, Jenna Maraska, and Fabio. They were the Sia tribe. And then on the Tyler Perry tribe, it was Brian, Earl, Mike Holloway, and Tina Wesson. That's the group that was the Tyler Perry. So let's go to the merge and see how things shake out. And so I like this gave us the colors here of where people were. But in terms of original new school versus old school, who has the numbers going into the merge?
We are 7-6.
7-6 in favor of who?
In favor of the new school.
Okay.
So our 6 old schoolers who are, I guess, on the bottom in that regard are Brian, Chris Doherty, Jenna, Richard, Tina, and V. And then, but of course, they have 2 idols in their alliance in Brian and V. And the new schoolers are Bob, Chris Underwood, Earl, JT, Fabio, Mike, and Tommy. Though, of course, we just saw a new schooler vote a new schooler out. We also saw an old schooler vote an old schooler out the past 2 rounds. So I really don't know how much tribal lines are going to hold here. I think maybe even more so post-swap might prevail over pre-swap.
Okay, let's see what's going on in the new Nold school tribe. Is that?
I know how much you love mashing up tribe names for a merge tribe, so I combined old and new school to Nold school.
Nold school tribe. All right. So let's just reset the idols. Bob has an idol. Brian has an idol. V has an idol. Here's the alliances that we're looking at. Okay. All right. That we've got a alliance between Bobbio and Tommy.
Right, because that was the big dude bro alliance that Earl left and some other people left as well.
Bobbio is an alliance. Chris Underwood and Jenna Maraska is an alliance. Colaway is an alliance. So a manageable number of alliances.
Well, yeah, and Jenna is the only old schooler right now in a dedicated alliance. It seems like the other 5 old schoolers are just sort of like sensing things out right now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what's going on. We have our immunity challenge, and Tina wins the first immunity. Wow.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I saw the word perch, and we know how good Tina is at perch immunities, considering the first one she gave up to Keith in the Australian Outback only because she was in trouble. She probably thought she was in trouble here, so good on Tina.
All right, Tina cannot be voted for. Back at the beach. We know about our idols. Mike Holloway and Tina find something in common. Do you have any idea what that could be?
I mean, I think they both realized finally that they're from the South, right?
I think that's probably one.
Yeah,
I think that they probably have a lot in common, Mike and Tina.
Yeah, I can imagine so. It's one, and especially again, if maybe Tina's still trying to find someone for Katie Collins, and Mike is just too kind to tell her that no, I'm taken right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So Mike and Tina have something in common. I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well, considering they were on the same swap tribe, but maybe they were waiting to go to tribal council for them to finally approach each other and be like, okay, we know we can work together.
Yeah, I mean, that would have made more sense if, Tina was the person voting with Callaway.
Tina voted against Mike Holloway.
Yeah, so it seems like maybe once, Tina and Brian Heidick aren't working together, maybe Todd was like a bad influence, like, you don't want to work with Mike Holloway, trust me.
He was like getting in Tina's ear about it.
Yeah, okay. All right. Then we have our Callaway is broken up.
Oh,
what?
No!
What?
Oh, my heart!
Because
my heart!
Maybe Tina is like, I don't trust Earl.
Yeah, now Tina's doing it. Tina Bout's fair play.
Wow.
She broke up
trust
Callaway.
Tina.
Wow. She is taking Earl's place right now, it seems.
Mike, don't you think that we have much more in common? Like, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Talking to Mike on the way to tribal council.
Oh, boy. Okay. So a big shakeup here as Callaway looked like that they were best friends forever. No, not going to happen.
Yeah.
We are. First tribal council at the merge. What's happening?
I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. Because even we don't even have tribal divisions at this point. We have a bunch of little twosomes and threesomes going on with the
trust clusters.
The old schoolers are
voting blocks.
Yeah, and instead of trust clusters, like these guys are just like loose cereal all over the place. So I have no idea. We could see a very Borneo-esque 5-3 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 vote.
All right. Wow. All right.
3 idols too.
3 idols in play. No advantages. Let's see. There are more new school players than old school players. Let's see how this first tribal council shakes it. Throw out a name, Mike. Who's in trouble?
I'll throw out Jenna's name.
Jenna. I mean, she does have Chris Underwood potentially protecting her. What about Chris?
Which one?
Chris Daugherty.
I could see Doherty go here, though I can't imagine a situation where he goes over someone like Brian or
Could it be Richard Hatch?
Yeah, maybe they fear that Richard has an idol, though, and maybe they throw their votes onto Chris in an Edgardo way. We know that Earl is someone who knows how to do that, and he will nod about it. So
Hatch is a big target.
Yeah, I think an old schooler is going here, though, no matter what.
All right, let's go to our idols. Bob has an idol. V has an idol. Brian Heidick has an idol. And Bob is going to play his idol. So
okay, just to be safe.
All right, Bob, any votes for Bob tonight will not count. All right, 13 votes in all. Here we go. Sepia is going to use her idol on Brian.
Wow, Brian pulling a Malcolm here. A hold up, bro. Play the idol on me, V.
Yeah. Now, is Brian going to now reciprocate like Tony and LJ at the Kagiyan merge? That will Brian play his idol on V?
If you think he's going to do that, you don't know Brian Heidick.
All right. So Bob has played his idol. V is playing her idol on Brian Heidick. Very uncharacteristic move here. Didn't see any alliance or talk between V and Brian Heidick, except for when they were in the single-digit alliance. But now, all right, V plays her idol on Brian. Any votes for Brian will not count tonight. All right. First vote. Brian does not count.
Wow.
Brian does not count. Brian does not count.
Wow, you son of a bitch.
Brian does not count. Brian does not count.
Wow.
Brian does not count. Brian.
Wow, he would have gone.
Does not count.
And he still has an idol.
Brian does not count.
Votes?
Brian does not count. Bob does not count.
No, this can't be no votes.
Bob does not count. We have no votes.
No.
Bob does not count.
No, there's 1 vote left.
All right. The 13th and final vote. Bob does not count.
No
we are tied.
votes.
We're tied 0-0.
With 13 people voting.
Yes. There is a tie, and there will be a revote. Those in the tie will not revote unless no one received votes on the original vote. Okay, so what is happening now? So now we're going to vote against the people that are eligible.
Okay, so Tina's safe because of immunity, and Brian and Bob are both safe. So any of the other 10, JT, Fabio, Richard, Jenna, Chris Doherty, Earl, V, Chris Underwood, Mike, or Tommy is eligible for voting now.
We're in uncharted waters here on
This is ridiculous.
a Brant Steele. 0-0 vote at the merge. First vote on the revote, JT.
Ooh.
Vesepia.
Oh no, V.
Fabio.
Fabio.
Chris Underwood. All right.
What is going on?
One vote JT, one vote Vesepia, one vote Fabio, one vote Chris Underwood. Again, it's our first vote at the merge. It's crazy to begin with. We had a 0-0 tie, and now no chance to talk, and now everybody just go write down a name.
Just go throw out someone else's name out of the 10 people you could choose between. Let's see if
Earl.
it continues. Oh, so the 5th person getting votes.
We're tied. 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Mike Holloway.
My God. Is this going to be a 10-person tie?
Mike Holloway.
Oh, no.
Vesepia. All right, we are tied. That's 2 votes Vesepia, 2 votes Mike Holloway, a bunch of other. Chris Underwood has a vote. JT has a vote.
Earl has a vote.
Earl. Okay. Mike Holloway.
Wow.
V. We are tied again?
Yeah, there's 3 votes, Mike, 3 votes, V.
Okay. So what happens now, Mike?
Well, I think all 13 people are voting.
Oh, okay. Mike Holloway.
So this vote's
V.
going to do it right here. We have it's either going to be Mike or V.
V. Oh my God. V gets voted out here.
After using her own idol on Brian Heidick, who had an idol.
5 votes for Sepia, 4 votes for Mike, 1 vote for Chris Underwood, 1 vote for Earl, 1 vote for JT, 1 vote Fabio Vesepia. The tribe has spoken in what is the craziest Brant Steele tribal council that I've ever been a part of.
All right, we need to break this down.
I need an inhaler.
I just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. All right. Mike. All right. Let's just talk this through. So you're right. Vesepia played an idol on Brian Heidick, who had an idol.
But he still convinced her to play her idol on him. He pulled essentially what Angelina does at the John vote, where she gets up and he's like, "Hey, it's me tonight. Play it on me." And she was right.
Yes.
But she could have played an idol and he could have played an idol, and both of them would have been protected. Instead, V's going home not with an idol in her pocket, but with I wouldn't even say a misused idol because it was used correctly. It's just an idol that she could have used for herself.
You are assigning agency to Brian Heidick. Is it possible? Did V sniff this out on her own? Okay, the votes are coming for Brian Heidick. Somebody's telling her, "Hey, voting for Brian." Like, well, I don't want Brian to go home. She plays her idol on Brian. Do you feel like, did he say, "Play your idol on me," or do you think that she got wind of, "Hey, the vote is for Brian," and then played her idol?
I could see a little bit of both where, I could see maybe the old schoolers are coming together being like, okay, it seems like the new schoolers want to vote out Brian. Like, I could see, I don't know, Chris telling Jenna that, for example, and Jenna goes back to communicate that information. And so they're like, it's sort of like what happened with the Davids, right? Where like V was sort of like the Davy in this situation using the idol on the target in Brian. But this would be like if Davy played the idol on Christian, but Christian also had an idol and did not disclose that information to anyone else.
In one fell swoop, all of the idols are out of the game.
Yeah, well, no, Brian still has his.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. So one idol left, Brian Heidick's idol. Okay. All right. Let's.
We need to see how these votes went down because I'm just so intrigued by A, what the initial votes were, and B, who voted for who on this crazy ass revote.
Bob voted for Brian and then voted for Chris. Brian voted for Bob and then for Mike Holloway.
Okay.
Seemed like that the old school players put their votes on Mike Holloway on the revote, and then
except I don't know. You're looking at Chris Doherty right now, and he went completely against old school standards. He voted for Brian.
Chris has flipped. Chris has flipped all the way. That he voted against Brian and then against V.
Yep. Looks like Chris Underwood voted for Bob, turned on his former alliance, and then voted for V on the revote.
Earl voted for.
He voted for Mike.
Voted for Brian Heidick the first time around, and then voted against Mike Holloway on the revote.
Wow. JT was another one who voted for Brian. He voted for Fabio
Yep.
on the revote. Interesting. Maybe he felt like, maybe he sort of held a grudge against Fabio after leaving that bro alliance all the way back.
Right. Jenna, she was old school all the way, voted for Bob on the first vote, Mike Holloway on the revote.
Right. Fabio voted for Brian. Then him and JT voted against each other on the revote.
Interesting. Something must have happened on the beach. Mike Holloway, he voted for Brian Heidick on the first vote, and then Earl on this call away ended up.
Wow, this is a bad breakup.
Bad breakup. Richard Hatch has flipped against the old schoolers. He voted for Brian.
Richard voted with Chris, it looks like. Chris Doherty.
It looks like that Tina also was out on the rest of the old school. Remember, the single digits broke up. So Richard and Tina both voted for Brian and then Vesepia.
And Tommy also voted for Brian and Vesepia. Okay, so it looks like Tommy joined Richard and Chris Doherty from the old Jimmy Fallon tribe, and they all voted together, it seems. Seems like Tommy is entrenched with the old schoolers now with this.
And it looks like that Tina is Chris also with them?
Yeah, I think Chris Doherty is as well.
Okay. And Mike Holloway?
Yeah.
So Mike Holloway,
he voted for Earl.
I'm sorry. So he voted for Earl.
Yeah, so basically the old schoolers and Mike Holloway voted Brian.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And everyone else voted for Bob, except for Vesepia.
And then Vesepia voted for Bob, and then Mike Holloway.
Can we just scroll back up and down for a second? Because I want to see who voted for V and who voted for Mike, just so because that's probably the best sense we'll get as to like what happened.
What the alliances are. Okay. V voted for Mike. Tommy voted for V. Tina voted for V. Richard Hatch voted for V. Mike Holloway voted for Earl. Fabio voted for JT. Jenna Maraska voted for Mike. JT voted for Fabio. Earl voted for Mike. Chris voted for V. Chris Underwood. Both the Chris's voted for V.
Yeah, so the Chris Underwood and Tommy seem to vote with Chris D and Richard and Tina on getting out Vesepia in that revote.
Yes. Okay. All right. It seems like that there's maybe a new version of the single digits with Chris Underwood is now with the single digit people.
Yeah, and maybe Tommy as well. They sort of took their spots here.
Oh, we've gone full circle. The oldest school and the newest school maybe could be working together. All right.
My brain is melting right now.
That for people that are just listening to the podcast, God bless you. God bless you.
Yeah, seriously. Like, you might want to just pause and go check out the YouTube video.
RobIsWebsite.com/winners@peace.
Yeah, so you can take a look. I honestly think we need people to like host a separate podcast to just break down what happened at that final 13, because I'm still astounded. This is the most Brant Steele vote I've ever experienced, and we saw a situation where somebody didn't play their idol and got purple rocked out of the game.
It's only the final 12.
And it's only the final 13. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Brian Heidick has the only idol in the game. All right. We've got Bobbio is still a thing. Chris Underwood and Jenna. Do we need an alliance name for them?
Let's see. Chris and Jenna.
Underwear?
I was going to say underwear or underbra.
Underbra?
Or Wonderbra.
Wonderbra. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. We'll come back with them.
Come back, put a pin in that.
Yeah. Underaska?
Underaska? Okay, that could work.
All right. Let's get to our reward challenge. Yada, yada, yada. Somebody want a reward.
Brian, Earl, Jenna, Richard, Tina, and Tommy win a dozen pizzas to be enjoyed at camp.
I don't care about when it's a group reward win on Real Survivor. We don't need to get bogged down in Brant Steele with this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Let's go to our immunity challenge.
Brian. Okay. He was the talk of the town at the last immunity. He gets a immunity challenge win.
Good. And he had an idol in his pocket, so he could have been protected, but now he doesn't need to worry about it. He is doubly safe at this tribal council where literally, as was proven last time, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Back on the beach, Jenna and Fabio have a minor disagreement.
I'm assuming they're quibbling over their various modeling exploits in the past.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Meanwhile, Cole away had a little bit of a thaw.
Wow, the
Bond
Ross and
slightly.
Rachel of Survivor is happening once more.
We were on a break.
I didn't get on the plane.
Okay. lasting impact for Earl and Mike's bond.
It's gonna last.
Okay, it's gonna last this time. All right, here we are back at Tribal Council.
I have no clue what's going to happen.
Your guess is as good as mine. We know Brian is probably not going to play his idol with the immunity necklace around his neck.
And nobody else has an idol at this point. We saw that Vesepia got votes against her last time, so that's not very... Oh, well, for some reason, Mike Holloway's still in there, even though it should be Vesepia.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Well, look at Mike Holloway is still in the game.
Yes.
Even though Vesepia should be, right?
No, Vesepia got voted out.
Oh, right. I'm so... Again, Brant, Rob, my brain is melting right now.
We're with you. We're with you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. It was 5 votes for Vesepia, I believe, and 4 votes for Mike Holloway.
5-4 to 1 to 1.
Yes.
Wow. Who knew that my Borneo-esque prediction would actually come true?
It came true. So if the numbers hold, you would expect another old schooler potentially to, although they flipped the old schoolers flipped on. So
Chris, Richard.
So you would expect a new schooler potentially to go,
or maybe someone like Jenna.
Yeah, but then there were enough like sort of rogue votes of JT and Fabio voting for each other that really it could be anything.
Especially now that Bob, let's remember, got the majority of votes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he got 4 votes last time. And so you'd think that without any safety around his neck, they could try to go for him again, whoever those people may be.
Okay, let's see what happens. First vote, Brian Heidick does not play his idol. All right. Brian Heidick actually is going to use his idol on Bob.
What is going on?
Are you okay?
All right, this is just confusing beyond all levels.
All right, here's the thing that's not confusing. There's no idols in the game now. Now there's no idols. Okay.
Now there's no idols. So but I swear to God, if Bob gets all the votes.
Okay. All right. First vote, Bob does not count.
Wow, Bob is just counting his lucky stars right now.
Bob does not count. Bob does not count. Here we go again. Chris Underwood.
Ooh.
Chris Underwood. Chris Underwood. That's 3 votes for Chris Underwood. Chris.
Wow.
The tribe has spoken. It was a 9 votes for Chris, and there were 3 canceled votes for Bob. Okay, what happened? It looked like that Chris seemed like that he was set up well, working with the old school players, but it turns out that the votes for Chris came from Bob and Brian and Chris Daughtery. We had votes from Earl, Fabio, Mike Holloway, Richard Hatch, Tina, Tommy Sheehan, all voted for Chris Underwood. The 3 votes for Bob ended up coming from Jenna Maraska, Chris Underwood. So Underaska is over. And then
imagine that she's stuck with him. He's her closest ally / only ally.
And JT, it seemed like that maybe the Brochachos got back together, where Chris and JT.
Momentary reigniting of the flame of the Brochachos. And yeah, this is sort of like Chris's best situation. He had a best guy and a best girl, but I think everyone probably knew that. I guess the big question is, what spooked Brian Heidick into playing his idol for Bob, especially since only 3 votes came his way?
I don't know. Maybe he just felt racked with guilt after Vesepia played the idol for him at the last tribal council. He's like, I shouldn't have this.
Is this like a Final Destination thing of like, let me just pass the curse on to Bob so that he gets protected once more here?
I don't know. I don't know exactly how this played out. But for whatever reason, Brian Heidick did play his idol. Chris Underwood ends up being the second player voted out at the merge. Okay?
Wow, so we have 1 old school player down and 1 new school player down. It doesn't matter because the Lions are just not there at any point whatsoever. But I guess this once again puts Jenna Maraska on the outside. Jenna Maraska just keeps losing allies.
She's like a cat with 9 lives.
So that seems to be her story at this point, just in Survivor, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Survivor the Amazon, she was actually in a pretty good spot right here. Okay. All right. Let's go to the final 11 here for the Nold School tribe.
Who will get Bob get protection from this time? Will it be himself? Will it be somebody else?
All right. So back on the beach, we still have our Bobbio alliance, Bobbio and Tommy Sheehan. Those are the only alliances in this very new school game.
And 11 people.
Yes. All right. Then our reward challenge ended up seeing
Looks
what
like
is
Brian,
this?
Chris Doherty, Fabio, Richard, and Tina win a trip to a burger bar complete with beer and soft drinks.
Great.
And this is I forget if this is the reward. No, this was not the reward that Carl and Davey went on to that they were getting drunk on, I think.
No.
I think that was at the final 10, I want to say.
Okay. All right. JT has won immunity.
Okay.
Remember
this is,
JT?
Yeah, so, this is balancing balls on a disc. We know that JT is good with these sort of like smaller endurance challenges, more dexterity based. He was great at the original iteration of Samotion. But yeah, we should also mention, we completely glossed over the fact that JT, for doing so disastrously every subsequent appearance, he's almost eclipsed his Heroes versus Villains placement,
Yeah.
but he has that Game Changers placement in the back mirror at this point.
Don't sleep on JT, that he is very quietly still very much alive here at the final 11.
Right, even though he did vote in the minority last time.
Hey, Brian says, hey, I could play an idol on Bob because I'll just find another one. Brian
Wow.
Heidick has the hidden immunity idol.
It's interesting, we really said the pre-merge was Fabio's game, but I feel like Brian has been like lighting this game on fire, despite being Mr. Freeze.
Yep. Brian Heidick having a strong post-merge game. Let's talk about on the beach. Bob Crowley has a major meltdown.
I think he might have realized that he's finally not safe for the first time, unless he's able to convince Brian to play the idol on him once again.
Brian, I need to talk to you.
Come on, please. One more time.
Okay. Meanwhile, Mike Holloway and Richard Hatch have something in common. Okay. Mike,
Right?
what do Richard Hatch and Mike Holloway have in common?
Oh my goodness. They're both, I wouldn't even say blue collar because Richard was the big white collar guy, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Could it be, I don't know, does Richard have someone with arthritis in his life and they connect over that?
I don't know. That would be interesting. I would be hard pressed to find something that Richard Hatch and Mike Holloway have in common other than they both won Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine they're just like, hey, you won Survivor, I won Survivor too.
They both have a lot of wild tattoos.
Ooh, maybe that's the case. They're sort of like telling the story of each other's tattoos, Jack Shepard style. Or maybe
How did you get inked?
Or maybe Mike is asking, like, I want to start a family. Can you talk to me about all those kids you sired with your swim donations?
All right. We have Tommy has been working with Bobbio. He's left that alliance.
Bobbio's like just, I don't know, there's like bad stinkiness at this point that nobody wants to work with them. Everyone that wants to work with them realizes how tight they are and subsequently leaves the alliance. They're too exclusive.
Yeah. It's like the drummer in Spinal Tap being in the alliance with Bobbio.
Yeah, we'll see who spontaneously combusts next.
Okay. All right. So Tommy is out of the Bobbio Alliance. Tribal Council, final 11.
I gotta think Bob's time has finally come.
Is
here.
it Bob? Could it be Jenna Maraska?
Apparently, these are the two that are always on the bottom. And I think Bob has just evaded the vote for far too long here. I feel like the buck is going to stop short here.
Seems like that Bob, I don't know if Fabio is going to be able to save him. We'll see. All right. Brian Heidick has his idol, and he does not play it. First vote, Tina.
Tina?
Brian Heidick.
Uh-oh. Brian, what are you doing?
Tina.
Okay.
Brian.
Ooh.
Brian. That's 4 votes, Brian. Brian.
Oh my God!
Is voted out with an idol in his pocket. Well, you know what? He screwed with V. That this was karma. V has a lot of connections to the big man upstairs, and I'm not talking about Mark Burnett. And he should have, when she played her idol on him, he should have reciprocated, played his idol on her. Maybe they'd both still be here.
I can't believe Brian for immediately like so jumpy with his first idol that he played it on Bob when he had immunity around his neck, decides to not play his idol and he gets blindsided as a result.
There were 2 votes for Tina. One was Brian Heidick. Who do you think was the other vote?
Maybe
Jenna Maraska?
I don't know. Is Jenna Maraska just finding? Is she like the new Aubrey where everyone she's with just goes home?
Was it Bob? You think it was Bob?
Bob repaid the favor.
Yeah, let's see. Brian votes for Tina, and then the other vote for Tina. JT.
JT's just maybe he felt like he was safe. He thought, like,
Yeah.
let me just.
What a
you know
maniac.
You know what it is? I think JT knew he was safe. This is just like the final 5 of Token Chains, where he knows Brian's going home, but he decides to throw a vote his way to like curry favor with him, knowing he's going to be on the jury.
Somehow JT has been on the wrong side of 2 votes in a row. He was one of the votes. He was one of the votes with Chris Underwood and Jenna against Bob at the last Tribal Council.
And actually, I'm pretty sure at the merge, like, he voted for Fabio. Remember?
Yeah, no, he has. JT's 0 for 3 at the merge so far.
We're becoming a real Eddie Fox.
Yeah, so he has not voted with no correct votes yet at the merge for JT. Although he does have an immunity win, so everybody else ended up voting for Brian.
Do you think it was sort of like a Tyson 1.0 thing with Brian, where they're like, Brian won an immunity, Brian plays idols, like, let's get rid of him right now, and they just duped him in that moment?
I don't think that they were necessarily afraid of his competition wins, but just like, in Survivor where you make a big move and everybody's like, oh, okay, we got to vote out Brian. Now he's got the best resume. We got to vote him out. So I think his profile just got too hot. Right.
So it's a little bit actually like Island of the Idols, where it really is like moving targets. Who's the biggest threat right now? Let's get rid of them. So from that perspective, maybe Tommy will prevail once more. But right now, we're at the final 10. It is 6 new schoolers, 4 old schoolers, though again, that amounts to absolutely nothing at this point, considering that an old schooler went almost unanimously last time out.
Okay, yeah. So bad job by Brian Heidick. Goes out with an idol in his pocket. We got a 2-hour episode coming up now.
I can only this post-merge has been insane.
Yes.
Can we just say this has been an insane post-merge?
Wild season.
Where we had no votes, we had a crazy revote, we had Brian play an idol on Bob, we had Brian go home with find an idol the next round and then go home with it in its pocket, Jason Siska style.
Hey, Mike, when you bring back the champions of this game, that this is exactly the kind of gameplay that you would expect, and this is even without fire tokens.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they have their own currency. I guess Brian went home with his own little currency in his pocket, right?
Yeah. All right.
That won't pay for that car or nor condo, Mr. Heidick, unfortunately.
All right. Here we are. It's our 2-part episode. Let's go ahead to our Life on the Beach here at the final 10. We have our Bobbio Alliance since day one.
That's literally it.
Yes, that's the only alliance in the game, and this has been a ride or die alliance. Bob and Fabio, can they run the table?
I'm really invested in them now. I think now that Brian's gone, I think I'm back on the Fabio train once more.
Yeah, Fabio's had a very quiet post merge. He was everywhere early in the game, and now he's sort of gotten back under the radar.
I mean, that's the place you want to be, though, in this post merge, where like anyone sticks their neck out gets it chopped off.
Sure thing. Okay, all right. Let's now get to our reward challenge, and then yada, yada, yada.
Bob, JT, Mike, Tina, and Tommy are going on their boozy boat ride.
Okay. No, I think that's in the second hour. I think that's the second hour. All right.
So this is the bad raps that leave.
Yes. Be careful.
This is Bob is going to be
doing
curled
yoga
up on the beach doing yoga.
Yes. Okay. All right. Immunity challenge. This is the one that's going to go on for 5.5 hours, and JT will regale everyone with all of his many articulate stories about Rubens.
Exactly, that nobody can understand at this point.
Okay. JT has rattled off a back-to-back immunity wins.
Wow, look at JT. Again, he has no idea what's going on, but he seems to be keeping himself safe.
Doesn't care. He's just going to go out and he's playing the Joey Amazing game.
Or the Mike Holloway game.
Yeah, okay. All right. Back on the beach. Tina has the idol. So there you go. An immunity idol for Tina.
My goodness. Okay, this is good. I feel like Tina has a good head about her. She's not going to be a Brian and use these for completely insane reasons or not use them whatsoever. I feel like she's going to weaponize these to her potential.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, Earl is impressing the team.
Good job, Earl.
Good for Earl. Okay.
Good for Earl.
All right. Meanwhile, Fabio has his second major meltdown of the game.
I think he realizes that.
What?
Oh man, wait a minute. What's going on? Why are there all these? I think finally the post-merge is finally hitting his head and his brain was melting, much like mine was a couple of rounds ago.
Okay. All right. Then we have a alliance here.
Wow,
Okay.
an alliance forming in this post-merge.
And the alliance is an 8-person alliance here at the final 10. And it looks like the alliance is Bob, Chris, JT, Jenna, Mike Holloway, Richard Hatch, Tina, and Tommy. Who's not in the alliance?
Fabio
In his meltdown, and
Earl.
then Fabio and Earl are the two people. That's not a good spot.
No, there's a third person too.
We're at the final 10. We're at the final 10.
Oh yeah, we're at the final. Oh yeah, so I guess yes, you're right. So it's Fabio and Earl on the outside.
Fabio and Earl are the only people not in this alliance.
You think Bob or Mike would bring them in, but maybe they're just side pieces at this point.
You would think so. Okay, Fabio just has that meltdown, so we'll see. All right. Tribal Council. So we've got an 8-person alliance that just came together. Does it hold?
I would imagine it holds at least for this round before it permanently
It will not hold. Yeah.
Exactly. It does not stay. But Mike was working on that shelter.
All right. So we'll see. Feel like that Earl is impressing everybody. Fabio's having a meltdown. The way this is going, we might have put the kibosh on, not the kebab. We might put the jinx on Fabio right now.
Yeah, but do you think that Bob is able to vouch for Fabio in the group and try to protect him?
Who's Bob vouching for? How many votes has he gotten in this merge already? 17?
Like, Bob, you're the lucky one. We're bringing you in on this, Bob.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Tina has her idol, and Tina does not play her idol and also receives the first vote.
Oh my God, not again.
Fabio, 1 vote. Okay. Tina. So people are voting for all of the blonde-haired people.
Oh, this anti-blonde crusade.
Okay. All right. Tina. Fabio, we're tied. Tina.
Oh my God.
Fabio, we're tied again. 3-3. Earl, we are tied 3-3 to 3. Fabio and Earl were the 2 people not in that 8-person alliance. The player voted out at Tribal Council is Earl. Oh, wow. What a stack from Jeff. We thought it was going to be Tina or Fabio, and then 4 votes for Earl.
So, okay. I'm my headcanon, and that's probably going to be disputed with the actual votes that happened. My hunch is, what if the 8-person alliance split their votes between Earl and Fabio, fearing that one had the idol, and maybe just one of them jumped around and voted for Tina for some reason?
Let's see what's going on here, because this is real wild that we ended up having this 8-person alliance. So let's see what happened, if maybe there was a vote split, as you said.
Well, Bob did vote for Tina, so he went against the alliance.
Okay, so Bob votes against Tina, who was in the alliance. Chris voted for Earl. Earl voted for Tina. JT, 0 for 4. Voted for Fabio. Jenna Maraska voted for Earl. Fabio voted for Tina. Mike Holloway voted for... Holloway can never happen. We can never have nice things.
They're forever broken up.
Richard Hatch voted for Earl. Tina voted for Fabio. Tommy voted for Fabio. So the winning 4 votes were... It was Richard Hatch, Mike Holloway, Jenna Maraska, and Chris.
So yeah, my personal belief is that the Alliance of 8 split their votes. The intention was to be 4-4-2, split between Earl and Fabio, the only 2 people not in the Alliance. But Bob felt bad and decided to vote alongside Fabio.
Oh, Bob couldn't vote out his friend.
Right, or he couldn't go along with the plan and decided to join in with Fabio and voting for Tina. Or maybe he did to sort of like keep up guises, sort of like playing the double agent Ben role of, hey, I want to keep Fabio complacent here.
Yeah.
And I guess, I'm assuming that, I guess Tina has not told anybody that she has an idol. Maybe she fears what happened to Brian would happen to her.
Yeah, those Fabio votes, it was Tina, Tommy, and JT were the Fabio votes.
JT volunteered to vote in the minority.
Okay. All right, so let's see where we go from here as we go into the final 9 over at the Nold School Tribe. It's Bob, it's Chris Daugherty, it's JT, it's Jenna Maraska hanging around.
Oh, congratulations, JT made it past his Heroes versus Villains placement.
It's Fabio, it's Mike Holloway, Richard Hatch, and Tina, both there. The original king and queen of Survivor, still both out there, and new winner, Tommy Sheehan, hanging around.
Wow. So yeah, it looks like, again, if we're going old school, new school, the old schoolers are now only down 5-4. Fabio and Bob were on the outside of the vote, but Bob is still entrenched in that 8-person alliance, essentially the 8-person alliance and Fabio.
Well,
so
let's see how the alliances are
Bob's
doing.
going to have to make a choice here.
Tina still has her hidden immunity idol, and we still have Bobbio going on, and that 8-person alliance is still there. Fabio being the only person with, this is a real bomb squad situation of, we have 8 people.
The Bob squad.
The Bob squad. 8-person alliance in a 9-person game. Fabio being the only person on the outs.
Yeah, and we'll save it when it goes down and gets rid of Bob, so we can become the Daughternators.
Okay. All right. Who's got a reward, Mike?
Jenna, Mike, Hatch, and Tommy are finally going on that booze cruise.
Yeah, okay.
About.
All right, who's overserved here?
Mike Holloway.
All right. Look, an immunity for Chris.
Oh, look at that. This is the one where they were trying to spell out the word, I believe. And
Perspective.
Okay, well, good on Chris for knowing his words. He's good with his words, so he's able to break JT's small immunity streak here.
All right, would not have picked Chris for the spelling challenge, but okay.
You know what? People can surprise you in many ways. It all depends on your perspective, Rob.
Okay, all right. Then let's go to our tribe events. Fabio has his 3rd major meltdown of the game, and it might be his final one. This might be it, Mike.
I think, honestly, we're starting to realize how if Fabio abstains from certain substances, how he certainly behaves. And I think now he's going down a Shane Powers route.
Okay. This could be the end of the road for Fabio here, as he is the 9th person in an 8-person alliance.
I can't believe there was an 8-person alliance at the final 9.
Okay, Richard and Tina have a small fight, but it has a lasting impact.
I can imagine they're sort of like each other's work spouses. Like, they're very close with one another being the first 2 winners. They're sort of looking out for each other amongst all these other players.
As somebody that spent a little time with these two, I don't know if I would classify work spouse.
Rob, this is a very, between, Jenna Maraska
Mom and Dad,
people that you went on a trip with. Like, a lot of people that are in your life are still in the game here.
Yeah. All right. Let's see where we go from here. Tribal Council Final 9.
Conventional wisdom says 8-1 shutout for Fabio. But
you would think so.
Stranger things have happened.
All right. You got to think Fabio's in trouble right now. Let's see. Tina has her idol, and she does not play it. First vote, JT.
Okay.
Fabio. JT, 2 votes for Fabio. Could Bob have cast a mercy vote on?
Yeah, a mercy vote, pity vote.
JT, let's see. Fabio.
Yeah.
Fabio, 7 votes for Fabio, 2 votes for JT. Let's see if Bob couldn't vote out his friend. Bob votes for JT. Yeah. All right, so Fabio.
Bob, true to his heart.
So finally, JT finally gets one. So JT's first correct vote of the merge.
Which, it was by default, right? Because they voted for him.
Yes,
so therefore he
could not vote for himself. Okay. Fabio is over. 3 meltdowns, a fan favorite for sure.
We'll see when we get to the end of the game. I think it depends on, I think certain sects of the fan base are like, what happened to this guy? But I think certain people are like, we love Fabio 2.0. He's so crazy and over the top.
He was OTT. OTTN at times. All right. Then let's get to our final 8 here. Okay.
Wow. And these were the 8 people that banded together to get rid of Earl and Fabio. Now that
at the final 10, that final 8 came together, said, look, we got to get Earl and Fabio out of this game. Mission accomplished.
Pretty tame 2-hour episode, I think, compared to all the other votes of this post-merge, considering how this group came together and got done what they needed to.
Yeah. Is Bob in trouble yet? He joined the final 8, and then did not cast. I guess he was supposed to vote for Fabio in the vote split, wouldn't do it. Then was supposed to vote out Fabio last time, voted for another person in the alliance.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine that his game is finally up here as well. I'm not entirely sure though, because this is actually a lot like the Triple H 2-hour episode when it had that little 4-pack form of Lauren, Devin, Ben, and Ashley, and they were able to clean house a bit. I could imagine their trigger fingers getting a little itchy. And I know that Brian Heidick's been voted out, but I think that they might be looking to all turn on one another now that the immediate targets are out. And you can imagine that, of course, all eyes are turning to Bob, specifically with how disobedient he has been to this alliance as of late.
Okay. All right. Let's see our alliances. Tina has the Idol, 8-person alliance intact. So final 8-person alliance, story checks out. Everybody's good. Who is the most and least loyal?
Looks like everyone has a 5 except for Jenna and Tommy. They're the ones that are really not feeling it right now.
Okay.
But they also don't have another option,
Okay. All right.
This is, I believe, the family challenge.
Oh, family challenge. All right. What's happening? Who's getting a family visit?
So Chris and Tommy win the paired family visit. I'm assuming they're visited by their respective wives. They get to bring 2 people with them. They bring JT and Bob.
Okay. Let's see.
So Stephen Fishback is able to get out there.
Finally.
His chance to double dip ended up paying off.
All right.
And Bob, I guess, is bringing his wife, I'm assuming, or the winner of the most recent Durham
Peg.
Warrior Survival Series.
Yes. Okay. All right. Tommy has his first immunity win through 2 seasons.
Oh no! Has he betrayed his brand?
Yes. They did have immunity challenges from the beginning.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but he didn't win an immunity necklace.
Okay, so we'll see if this is the beginning of the end. Tommy has never been voted out, also has never won immunity, so let's see if that changes his trajectory.
Yeah, so he's at least guaranteed safe. Any of the other 7 are up for grabs, especially Bob.
Okay, back on the beach. Tina has her idol. Chris and Tommy bond slightly.
I think is Chris a ginger?
I don't know.
I think that could be the major connection, right?
I think he's a very dirty blonde.
Well, he likes red. I think that's the Ohio uses a lot of red, right? So I can imagine they have a common bond over that.
Yeah. All right. Then JT and Jenna have something in common. It has a lasting impact. What's that?
I can imagine it's I guess it would be it would be Brazil. They both played in Brazil.
Okay,
so we're going to talk about playing
it.
in Brazil.
Okay. All right. And then Chris and Tina have a minor disagreement, but a lasting impact.
Okay, so we could see, these old schoolers have actually done a pretty good job of sticking together through this calamity of a post-merge. But maybe with Chris showing better signs towards Tommy and pushing herself away a bit from Tina, something could happen here. But Rob, it looks like a new alliance
has happened, finally. Okay, where things got very quiet. We have a new alliance. It's Tommy and a new mommy, Tina.
TNT!
Tommy and Tina's wedding is happening.
Oh my goodness. Wow. You know what? I could actually really see this.
Yes.
One old school player, one new school.
Look, I mean, if you're going to look at these games, you have Tommy and his mommy of like, I'm going to work with Janet. And what was Tina's game with Colby?
Yeah, exactly. Like they are seeking in each other what they usually find in their most successful allies.
Okay. Tina and Tommy. Could they run the table?
They could very much, I think, sneak under the radar and start taking people out to their whim under the disguise of like, oh no, like we're still working with this big alliance. So I'm really liking this pair. I'm very excited for this.
Has her idol still. Okay. Let's see. Final 7.
Tommy has immunity, so these 2 are guaranteed safe this round.
Nothing is guaranteed in Brant
she
Steele.
can hide it again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Bob is also the person that we think could be in trouble in this round.
Right. You would think that on paper he would be the one that would probably be on the outs. Though JT is someone who only recently found himself in the majority. Chris has been pushing himself away from Tina, who now found herself in a position of power.
Maybe Tina might need to play her idol tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if Chris is going to try to turn the tables on her.
Okay, Tina has her idol, and she does not use it. Okay, first vote, JT. Tina. Tina.
Oh, no.
JT. We're tied.
Tied.
Chris.
Whoa.
Chris, the tribe has spoken.
These vote reveals are just like pulling the pants out from under me.
Chris, you do not come for Tina Wesson unless she calls you.
Yes, you come for the Tina, you best not miss. She's a constellation.
Yeah. And bring her on the family visit next time, too, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Let's remember, he and Tommy won that reward challenge, and Tommy was able to ingratiate himself with Tina. Granted, he was already safe.
Tommy's like, Tina, I'm telling you, it was Chris. I wanted to take you.
Yeah, it was all him. He whispered in my ear, and he told me, you know how Chris is with his lies when he's just sitting back there in the hammock. He's spinning a web.
All right. So the votes for Tina, it was Bob. It was
Bob's
Chris.
becoming the new JT.
Yeah. JT voted for Chris. Jenna voted for Chris. And so did Tina and Tommy.
Tommy and his new mommy.
All right. So at least we have some, maybe a sense of the numbers right now as we approach the final 7. So Tina and Tommy that we're talking about, they voted for Chris. So did JT and Jenna Marasca. We talked about
the Brazilians.
Yes. Okay. So maybe that's a foursome, which would make then on the people that are on the outs are going to be Mike. It's going to be Richard and then no. Well, Mike and Richard voted for JT. And then was there a vote split going on? What happened here, Mike?
Yeah, I could see a vote split happening, or I could see Tina and Tommy just talking to Richard and JT and being like, "Hey, Richard and Mike and being like, hey, throw some votes."
If anything,
JT.
Mike, I feel like now we have gotten now in full. We had craziness, and then we had like a big, like a very solid vote, a group.
Now it's exploded again.
And now it's like I think we have like pairs of that. We have Tina and Tommy, JT and Jenna, and then Mike Holloway and Rich. Remember that they had something in common, and that bonded, and they had a lasting impact.
I'm entirely sure about the tats.
And so we have like these 3 voting blocks, and Bob Crowley.
And Bob is in the middle.
Bob's now
in the most powerful position here.
Yes. Okay. So we'll see. I don't expect Bob to be the person that gets targeted now at the final 7.
You can imagine, but you could also see like the team, maybe one of the pairs saying like, okay, let's all duke it out at the final 6, fair and square, and get rid of the wild card here. And
I feel like Hatch and Holloway are in trouble. Hatch away.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, I was gonna say that I was like, oh, these other 2 pairs have the assonance going on, the alliteration. But yeah, Hatch and Holloway is another pair. They're gravitating towards one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see what happens on the beach with the alliances. Okay, so we have this 7-person alliance, but that's everybody. Okay.
They're keeping up pleasantries right now.
All right. Tommy and Tina, Tommy and his new mommy, they are not super loyal. It's only a level 4 strength, and Tina's a little more loyal than Tommy. Sounds about right. That's on brand.
Well, power rank these 3 pairs for me, Rob, before they inevitably get broken up. The T's, the J's, and the H's. Like,
okay.
What do you value?
I would say that I think that's the T's are the strongest because they're at least recognized as an alliance. Then I would say the J's, at least they voted with the T's last time, that they have like at least an alliance that they're working with. And then the H's I would put in 3rd in those power rankings.
Well, and I could also see Richard seeking out Mike because he needs a shield, and I think Mike would want to do the same. That like they're probably regarded as the biggest threats in terms of strategy and challenges, and so they're really seeking out each other to protect one another. Because otherwise, if one's gone, the other one's going to be open much more.
Okay. All right. Let's check out where we go from here. It's our pole dancing reward. Bob is going to win. Yeah. Okay.
Bob is going to go on to a helicopter ride with Mike Holloway and JT. Interesting. So Bob, we said, was the wild card. You can assume that his reward choices was going to bear out if he really wanted to make his way back in. So he picks one of each of the 2 pairs. Does not pick one of Tommy or Tina, interestingly enough.
I wonder, could Bob try to turn the H's and the J's against the T's?
Yeah, I could imagine that would be the case. This is also like setting up for like Brant, Steele, Alpha.
Yeah, yes, okay. Bob trying to put together the HJ alliance.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, Hatch and Holloway and JT and Jenna. Okay. All right. Then Richard Hatch wins immunity. Will he do his famous immunity dance?
Yeah, the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity dance as he is able to finish balancing those balls on the disc.
Okay. Good job. Richard Hatch has won immunity. Okay. Here we go. Let's go back to the beach to see what's happening now. Bob and JT, major fight. So much for Bob putting together the H's and the J's.
Yeah, so I think unfortunately he got pissed that JT got pissed that at the reward, apparently someone took all the sugar from the coffee the next morning.
Oh boy, easy.
He blamed Bob and said, hey, I know that older people like to put a lot of sugar in their coffee. They don't care about the calories. And so he's blaming Bob majorly for it.
Okay. Tina has a major meltdown. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. I think Tina is now trying to figure out what to do with this idol, right? And I think this is the only idol she's ever held on to. She does have Tommy to confide in, but she's not entirely sure. And I think maybe she's starting to miss home a bit. She didn't go on that family visit, and she really is looking for a sign as to what to do. And V took all the faith-based providence away.
Okay, let's look at our alliance. Tommy and Tina. Uh-oh. Tommy is left. We have with Tommy and Tina, it looks like that she had the major meltdown, and then that's what made Tommy leave.
Interesting. So he's like, I can't work with somebody like this. I want to work with somebody a little more emotionally stable. Let me try to find greener pastures here.
Yeah, okay. So Tommy is out. Tina's in trouble. She does have the idol. Let's see what the alliances are looking like now. We have now the J's are adding an H. JT, Jenna Maraska, and Mike Holloway now have the alliance.
Wow, for being so clueless during the first part of this post-merge, JT is really coming to his own here, really proving how he won his first time out.
Okay, so JT rising, Jenna Maraska, everybody forgot about her. She's right where she wants to be. And now they pick up Mike Holloway, who has sort of like floated around all throughout this game.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I don't think Mike has won a challenge. So, he was really able to come in and be what we've seen from a lot of this preseason press for Survivor 40 of, okay, I have to play things differently. Mike is actually sticking true to that, and he's really trying to play off his bonds and his strategic stuff. He nearly went home at the first tribal council after the merge. According to me, apparently he did, but apparently he's made his way back here. Now, granted, this is only 3 out of 7 votes, but I feel like this could be at least enough for a plurality. If they're able to swing Hatch over as well, then that's 4 out of 7.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Tribal Council here with the final 7. Tina needs to play her idol. I would think
right now, after losing her closest ally, I think she wants to.
Okay. All right. Tina has her idol.
And she's not.
Tina is going to play her idol.
Good job, T.
All right. Any votes for Tina do not count. Mike, who is getting voted out?
I think it's Bob. I think that finally Bob's time is up here. Unless Tina got wind that the votes were coming her way, in which case she may be like, this might be a Ben situation where she becomes the only vote against Bob. But there are still so many pairs in the game milling about that we could see a very scattered vote. All we know is Tina's staying, Mike is staying. You can imagine that Jenna and JT are voting with him, so they're pretty much safe. So it's going to either be Bob, Richard, or Tommy.
Okay. First vote, Tina does not count. Tina does not count. Tina does not count. Tina does not count. Tina does not count.
Wow.
Tina does not count.
Wow. It was going to be a 6-1 vote. So her vote is the sole determinant as to who goes home here.
Tina cast her vote for the player that will be voted out, JT.
Interesting choice.
JT, the tribe has spoken.
Just when we thought he was heating up, he immediately hits a wall here. And
Stephen Fishback has broken his TV.
Or his computer has just had a hole punch through it.
Wow.
Okay,
JT got hot at the right time, but walked right into it. You mentioned Survivor HHH. Not unlike what happened to Lauren Rimmer.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that maybe JT was the one that was corralling the votes against Tina. Like, he saw that Tommy...
Tina bomb.
Yeah, he said that Tommy had sort of broken things off with her. And he's like, hey, now I got to take advantage of this. She's a dangerous player. Let's get rid of her. And so he turned all the votes onto her. And in revenge, she turned the votes back on them, despite apparently trying to work with the Jays last time.
Even Tommy voted for his new mommy.
Wow. He voted out his new mommy.
He tried to. He unsuccessfully. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing as well, is that Tina is now going into a finale situation where everyone just voted against her. Now, this could be a thing where they're easily going to vote her out next time if she doesn't have immunity or an idol. She could be able to turn something around. We have 3 old schoolers, 3 new schoolers coming into this. So, and I think actually we're also evened up with the swap tribes as well. So like we're really even across the board here. Literally anything can happen here, Rob.
This is a 3rd Survivor finale appearance for Tina Wesson.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess 2nd for everyone else, too. So
2nd for everybody else, yes.
Yeah, but yeah, she's 3 for 4 in making finales.
So good record here for Tina coming in hot to the finale. Okay, the final 6. Let's kick things off, and are we getting a reward? What are we gonna?
Yeah, so we're gonna get the combined reward immunity.
Okay, reward immunity. Okay, all right. So the alliance is right now Jenna Maraska and Mike Holloway. This is a new alliance that they were with JT. They brought in Mike Holloway, and so Maraskaway.
Yeah, or Mike and Maraska.
Jay Holloway.
J-Ho! The Wandovs write themselves.
All right, Maraskaway is here, and they are the only alliance in the game, but it's a strong alliance.
Yeah, but it's also 2 people out of 6.
Yeah, okay. Let's see where we go from here. All right, immunity challenge. Uh-oh, I know this story.
This seems familiar.
Jenna Maraska wins immunity at the final 6. She's coming on strong now.
Yeah, she just lost her closest ally, and now she is guaranteed Final 5. She also gets to bring 2 people on a reward challenge with her, and she's going to pick Tina and Mike Holloway, her newfound ally, and the person who just played an idol and is assumingly on the outs. I guess Jenna might be trying to cobble something together at this moment. Do you think Tina's trying to corral them all around to have her hoist her up on on a ladder to find an idol? Maybe.
I think who's walking around with the wine glass like Mike White? Yeah, and then it always has to be a Mike. And then also for this spaghetti meal that they're gonna have, is that going to be topped with spaghetti sauce provided by the fine people at Tababio?
Yeah, and we have only one person left representing the 3 chefs that are assumingly on the level of the label of Tababio.
Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, then back at camp, Mike Holloway, he's up to his old tricks. He finds the idol.
Wow. Mike making a last push here. He is now guaranteed Final 5 as long as he plays that idol. Maybe Final 4 if he's able to last around here. But yeah, the idols have really been changing hands. I know Brian found 2, but everyone's just been really taking to the jungle, true to their returning player ways.
This is a wild finish.
This is a truly insane season.
Mike, could you give me the power rankings here at the final 6?
So, I mean, I would put, is in terms of like likelihood to win or likelihood to get to the end?
Well, likelihood to win.
Well, I guess likelihood to win. I mean, Bob has a story. I feel like Jenna has a story. Tina has a story. Does Mike Holloway have a story?
I think he's writing it right now.
He's writing it right now, so he could have a push at the end. Richard Hatch definitely has a story, right? I was the first ever winner. I was such a huge target in All-Stars. Now I'm back, and they didn't even see me coming.
But he's done almost nothing in this game.
Right, but he doesn't even need to. He could say that I was able to obscure myself despite being one of the biggest targets. But I feel like right now, I could see either Bob, Tina, or Jenna winning at this point, especially considering the alliances that Jenna is making at this moment. I feel like she and Mike are really making a late push.
Yeah. And don't forget about Tommy.
That's true. Tommy.
Could Tommy go back to back?
That would be insane. That would be bananas.
Is this season, 39A? Is this what's the order of this season?
I guess it would go, like this is sort of like what they show in between seasons. It's sort of like whatever. This is like the celebrity Big Brother, essentially.
Okay. All right. So Mike Holloway with the hidden immunity idol. Okay. Meanwhile, Bob and Richard have a bond. Okay.
I think Richard finds a bit of Rudy, the late Rudy Bosch, in Bob.
All right, so there you go. So there's an alliance with Bob and Richard bonding.
I mean, they had to make it happen soon.
Mike and Tina, they had bonded earlier in this game. They back.
They back, and we know that Mike is with Jenna, so could Tina be brought along in that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now, meanwhile, Jenna Maraska has left the 6-person alliance. Does that matter?
Well, I can imagine that it's just that, like, she's starting to become sketchy, and everyone's like, oh, okay.
All right, well, she has
Now we know
immunity.
that she's not really working with us. But like you said, she has immunity. So.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, Bob Crowley and Tommy have an alliance. Tommy and his daddy. So now look at Bob all of a sudden. Bob picks
Bob's
up Richard
Mr.
Hatch
Popular.
and Tommy here at the final 6. And now I feel like that Bob is not getting voted out. Mike Holloway has the idol. Then we have
Jenna has immunity.
Jenna with immunity. Could Tina be the person that ends up being out of favor? Although she has the bond with Mike.
Well, let's remember that literally everyone voted against her. I could very easily see, unless Mike decides to stick up for her and mount this big plan against her or play his idol on her, I could see Tina going here in an easy 5-1 vote.
Okay. Would Mike Holloway be so crazy to play his idol for Tina?
You know what he would do? He'd say, "I'm gonna play this idol on Tina," and then not do it, just to see how the votes go.
You should have seen the look on your faces.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see. Mike Holloway has the idol. Mike
play it.
is going to play his idol for himself.
He wants to guarantee he makes it through the day.
Okay. Mike, his votes will not count. Jenna Maraska is immune. Somebody's going home here at the final 6. First vote, Tina. Tommy. Tina. Tommy, we're tied. 2 votes Tina, 2 votes Tommy. Tina. Tommy. Oh, boy. Hold on.
3-3. What?
Hold the phone. All right. So, Mike, this is going to create a very interesting situation if we go to the. All right.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, so now we're going into a revote. Tommy and Tina, the mother-son and battered duo, are safe. So is Jenna Maraska.
Well, hold on. Don't we have to have a vote? We have a vote where you can only vote for Tina or for Tommy, right? We're gonna vote again.
I guess they can vote again. Yeah, I forget if they just skipped ahead.
Let's see what we're gonna have. Okay. All right. There is a tie and a revote.
Oh,
Those in the tie will not vote. So we're gonna have 4 votes now for Tommy or for Tina
and
on
if
the
they
revote.
tie up again, just to outline the scenario.
Yes.
Tommy would be safe. Tina would be safe. Jenna winning immunity would be safe. Mike playing his idol would be safe. So either Bob or Richard Hatch would go there.
Okay. All right.
So who's gonna flip here is the question.
Yeah. And then would they then pick rocks?
I guess a 2-person rock draw.
Or do they make a fire if it's 2-person?
Would they fight for it?
I don't know. Let's see what happens. All right. Let's have a revote. Only 4 votes on the revote. Tommy. Tina.
Oh my God.
Tommy. Tina.
Oh my
we're
God.
tied. Deadlocked. 2-2.
What are Bob and Richard thinking? Are they really going off of a rock draw here?
All right. So now, here we go. Because there's a deadlock, rocks will be drawn. Bob Crowley and Richard Hatch are going to the rocks. One's going to stay, one's going home.
This is insane. This is ridiculous.
Okay. Wow. Bob Crowley, the tribe has spoken.
Wow. His luck has finally run out for Bob Crowley going home in a rock draw after a deadlock vote at the final 6.
Wow.
We have to break this down.
Okay, let's see how everybody voted. Okay. All right. Bob cast his initial vote for Tina. Then he voted for Tina on the revote.
All right. So it looks like here Jenna, Mike, and Tina voted for Tommy.
Okay.
So it looks like the alliance of Jenna and Mike brought in Tommy and said, the alliance of Jenna and Mike brought in Tina and said, okay, Nimby, this was this new bond between Mike and Tina. Trust us, vote against Tommy.
And then it was Richard and Tommy and Bob voted for Tina.
Wow. And that's crazy. You would think that Bob or Richard would swap their votes, right?
Mhm.
Because like if they just cut their loss here, vote out Tommy, they don't need to draw a rock. But for some reason, they decided to stick to their guns.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Why would they do that? Why is Bob just that? I mean, Bob proved he's that loyal.
He's a man of his word.
He never voted against Fabio despite putting himself on the outs. But
Okay.
I'm just so surprised that Richard Hatch did not flop his vote there. Like, I would never think Richard Hatch would want to go to a rock draw.
Yeah. Look, Richard is very unemotional about it. That he felt like he had a better chance to move on with his Tommy group, and now he's on the outs.
Well, and I think he's also saying, like, hey, tiebreakers and finales are great for me. That's how I won my first time.
Okay. We're at the final 5.
And now for the first time ever, I think, Rob, in the game, the old schoolers outnumber the new schoolers.
Yes, and we've also somehow worked it down to 3 men and 2 women. What did we start at? It was
we started at 16 men and like 15 men and 5 women, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's go to the alliance. It looks like that everybody is in the alliance except for Jenna Maraska. There's an alliance of 4, but Jenna Maraska has her only alliance with Mike Holloway.
Right, and they brought in Tina on the last vote. We'll see if they still want to work with her. Could they just have used her as a quick shield to get by?
Tina is not a recognized member of the alliance, according to Brant Steele. Okay.
Do you think that Mike played his idol knowing it would be a 3-3 tie so that he would be protected?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I personally would imagine, because you'd imagine like Mike got no votes there, and I could see if he thought that it was going to be a 3-3 tie, he wanted to make sure that he was safe. He didn't try to get Keithed out and sent to the house, and that protected him. He didn't have to be in the rock draw as a result.
All right, let's go to our immunity challenge. Richard Hatch is immune at the final 5. Immunity win number 2 for Richard Hatch.
That was huge. He really, I mean, considering that, he was on the wrong side of the vote and nearly went home in a rock draw, he's guaranteed safe now.
This is probably bad news for Tommy Sheehan.
I can imagine so. Yeah, he got 3 votes last time. I would not be surprised to get at least 3 more coming his way.
No idols in the game right now, but will somebody find an idol heading into the final night they can be played in the game?
Well, let's see.
Tina has found the hidden immunity idol.
Tina, she's got to play tonight. Guaranteed final for Tina.
You say she's got to play it. Don't forget about Aunt Patty.
Never forget. Pour one out for Aunt Patty.
Wait, what did Aunt Patty play it on somebody else, or she ended up not using it?
She played it on somebody else and then got voted out.
Right.
She was V. She was a pre-V.
Pre-V. All right. So let's check out what's going on the beach. Tommy and his daddy, his other daddy, Richard.
He's just going around the family tree at this point.
Yes. They have a minor disagreement. Minor.
I can imagine. I think it's just the two of them are
no lasting impact either.
Oh, good. I'm
very fleeting.
I'm glad this one didn't have a lasting impact. But I can imagine these two of them are on the bottom, like they're just scrambling to throw each other under the bus, even though Richard's safe.
Okay. All right. Final 5. Richard is immune. Tina has her idol.
I think this is curtains for Tommy. I think school is out right now.
Tina has the idol. If anybody has the idol, they can play it, and Tina will play the idol. So votes for Tina will not count. You cannot vote for Richard. Jenna Maraska, Mike Holloway, or Tommy, or going home. I think that we are seeing Tommy getting his torch snuffed for the first time in Survivor history.
Yeah, I think unless Richard and Tina decide to join up with Tommy and take out the pair of Jenna and Mike.
Jenna Maraska. Tommy. Jenna Maraska.
Oh, wait, could Jenna go here?
Jenna Maraska gets voted out. What? How did this happen, Mike?
The old schoolers, they turned on her. They saw how close she was with Mike. They were afraid of going with, I think it was totally Richard and Tina were afraid of going with a pair to the final 4.
They didn't want to go with a pair. So Richard and Tina have suddenly linked back up, and then we saw Tommy and his mommy, Tommy and his daddy. That they've brought him in. The king and queen, the original mom and dad of Survivor, picked up their son. Here he is. Tommy, the winner of season 39, has linked back up with the winner of Survivor 1, the winner of Survivor 2, And now here they are potentially now knocking out the tightest duo in the game, Jenna Maraska and Mike Holloway. Interesting that they went after Jenna and not Mike Holloway.
Yeah, you would think that Mike is obviously the bigger threat to win in the next round, but maybe it's because Jenna had a better chance of winning in the end. We sort of talked about how she built a good narrative for herself going into the finale, and she'd won an immunity challenge as well, that they thought, okay, let's cut this short at the moment. We have a better chance of winning against Mike than we do than Jenna, so we're going to move forward without her.
Big props to Jenna Maraska. What a run here at the Final Five. Fan favorite.
Crazy. Absolutely. And
Great
I can
run.
imagine your red carpet interview with her was fantastic at that finale.
Yes, to say Jenna, Russell Hantz said that Natalie White, that if she came back and did very bad, it was an indictment of what a bad player she was. But look at you, that it took a incredible gamesmanship to knock you out here at the Final Five.
So here we are, Rob. Our Final Four: Richard, Tina, Mike, and Tommy.
Okay.
2 people from the first 10 seasons, 2 people from the last 10 seasons.
All right. So here we go in terms of Mike Holloway. Gotta feel like preeminent favorite to win the fire making competition if he goes into it.
I don't know. Richard won an immunity challenge where he had to make fire.
Yes. Tommy says he can do it. Has never been put to the test.
Right.
Tina,
Even though he could obviously pull the same thing if someone else wins immunity of like, no, I'm terrible. Take me to the end.
yeah, take me, Tina. Okay. All right. Let's see where we go from here. Alliances, it's all 4, but as we got to think Mike Holloway is on the outs. Mike Holloway he needs a win today.
Yeah, I think he needs to win, or he's definitely going to be making fire.
All right. So let's see where we go in our immunity challenge. Tina wins immunity. She will decide what goes on in the Final Four fire making.
So congratulations to Tina. Guaranteed Final 3. What a run for Tina,
Okay.
too. She's really coming on strong.
Mike, do you think will Tina make the fire herself?
Ooh, does Tina Underwood it? Do you think if you do it in front of Chris Underwood,
Yes.
does that help your case or hurt your case?
Yes, it does. I think so. He would be very impressed. He is a juror, don't forget.
That's true. And he has experience being a juror as well. Very odd like that.
Okay.
So she gets to pick one person to come along with her. So again, does Tommy get away with the same routine he did last time with Nora? Does she take Richard out of solidarity? Does she have that connection with Mike Holloway?
Yeah. Well, who can beat Mike Holloway in the fire making?
I guess Richard, right?
Richard?
I guess she could pick Tommy and put Richard and Mike against one another. The former H's are setting off against one another.
I think bring Richard to the end and then let Mike and Tommy fight it out.
Well, I guess Richard's sort of like the Troyzan of this season.
Now-
That he's been pretty darn quiet. So I guess he'd be a good person to bring with you.
Can you bring Mike Holloway to the end and not even let him have the chance to make the fire in front of, like, could you sort of like neuter him to some degree where...
Yeah, but I don't know, but you're looking at the jury and you have like Jenna on there who he just voted with. Like he's been endearing himself to a lot of people.
Yeah,
You
we don't
risk
know
bringing him to the end and fearing those connections.
how Holloway is doing. Maybe they've
Exactly.
rekindled. JT likes Mike Holloway, I think. All right. Let's see what she does. Okay. Nothing going on the beach. All right. Tina is going to give immunity to Mike. She did it.
She did it.
She
did the
doesn't want him to
unthinkable.
dazzle the jury.
Mike Holloway. Well, I guess it's sort of like the opposite of what Mike did with Ronnie and Carolyn, right? She's not giving him that chance to embarrass himself or really show himself in front of the jury. She's saying, no, you're coming with me.
All right.
You're riding in the car alongside me. We're not watching this. So now it's going to be Richard versus Tommy, the first winner versus the most recent winner.
In making a fire. Look, who says the Final Four fire making doesn't have juice, Mike?
There's a lot of juice going on right now.
Okay. All right. So Tommy versus Richard Hatch in the fire making challenge. Okay, Tommy, you got off easy last time. You're going to have to make fire if you want another shot at that million. 2 million. I think it's 3 million for this one.
No, you know what it is? I think that they didn't say it, but the reason why they're able to afford $2 million from Winners at War is because all the people who lose this season have to pool their money together to pay for the additional $1 million for Winners
Right.
at War.
All right.
So basically, the winner doesn't have to pitch in.
Richard Hatch and Tommy are gonna, and Richard. They've double checked. He has no matches on his person.
Absolutely.
They have
yes.
double checked. He's good.
Oh,
He's good.
I don't
Okay.
know. Who's your money on at this point?
Well, I think that Tommy's been out there recently. I think that he's going to be the favorite.
I don't know. I'm going to go Richard here because he had past precedent. He had won a fire-making challenge beforehand back in Borneo.
It would be a great part of his story for Richard to say, I was the original winner 20 years ago, that a big part of my win was that I made a fire for my only immunity that I won in that season. And now I have come back to the game. But let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be...
It's a great part of his story if he can do it. But I think Tommy's got this.
And that being said, I also think it's probably... What's the worst case scenario for Tina? Do you think Tina would rather have Richard or Tommy in the final three? I think she'd rather have Tommy. I feel like she thinks she and Richard would split.
Yeah,
votes.
she could say it was the whole time it was Tommy and his mommy, and I had him wrapped around my finger.
Yeah, or she could do she's basically the Dominic at this point, being like, I was tight with Richard, but I'm throwing him in because he's the biggest threat, and I feel like we split votes in the end.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. Tommy wins the fire making.
Wow.
Richard goes out here at the final four. Like it could have happened once upon a time in another alternate universe.
Well, caps off to Richard Hatch. A lot of people wondered how he would do in this modern game. Evidently, it makes him become the final juror here.
Okay. Richard Hatch is going to the jury. Okay.
Does he say I've been bamboozled?
I don't know what he says, but he's out. He's out. Tommy is on a hot streak that he's back in the final three with Mike Holloway and Tina to face the jury of, okay, here's who's on the jury. We've got Bob, Brian Heidick, Chris, both the Chris's, Earl, JT, Jenna Maraska, Fabio, Richard Hatch, Vesepia, Mike. If we're looking at this, who should win?
All right, let's do a little quick jury jeopardy here as I take down some notes. So Bob is most likely to vote for... Who do we think?
Well, let's just talk about the resume of our
Okay.
of our three finalists first. So Mike Holloway, that he ended up having a much quieter game here in this season. That he had a lot of good social bonds.
Right. I mean, he did put himself in hot water on that Tyler Perry try, but then was able to endear himself back. He formed Colaway, so he's capable of making one-on-one
Yeah, he
bonds.
was on again, off again with Earl throughout the whole game.
He made a bond with Jenna as well, and we talked about that bond with Tina too. And he found and played an idol on himself at the final six. So I think if you're voting socially, Mike is a good place to go here as a solid person.
Yeah. He didn't win any immunity challenges along the way.
Right, but he could also say that I had to play differently this time. I know I couldn't benefit from that, so I decided to pull myself back from the challenges.
Yeah. Was part of the Guys Alliance in the original New School tribe. So, okay. Mike has, some things to point to. Tina had a very interesting ride here in the post-merge game. Remember, she was aligned with Todd right before the merge when she came from that Tyler Perry tribe with Mike Holloway. In the merge, very interesting also, she won the first immunity and the last immunity.
Yeah, she really bookended it. And then on top of that, she made the bond with Tommy. He left her. She was left on her own, had to fight her way into the game, and she was able to do so. She played that idol at the final seven, was the sole determinant to send JT out at the final six. She was able to get by with that tie vote. Final five, she played another idol, and final four, she won immunity. So she had probably the strongest endgame run out of these three right here. But as we saw with Dean, another person who Tommy faced off against, that might not be the be-all, end-all when it comes to a vote.
Okay, what about Tommy and his game here in Season 39A?
Well, I mean, he could say, I was able to do, the same game 2 times in a row, and I was facing off against legends. He was once again able to make connections. He just had a big point on his resume in making fire, and I think, he had his worst time when he was being voted against at the final 6, but I don't think there were any other votes against him the entire game. So he can definitely speak up about that.
Yeah, kept the low profile, did win an immunity this season, didn't find idols, made a lot of different social bonds. We talked about his alliance with Tina, alliance with Richard.
He was building a survivor family.
Yeah, alliance with Bob. So, okay. All right. Mike, do you think you could call this one?
All right, so I'm gonna do a quick little jury Jeopardy here. I think Bob is going to vote for, I'm gonna say Bob votes for Mike. I'll say Brian votes for Tina. Let's say Chris votes for Mike. Chris Underwood votes for Tommy. Let's see. Earl is going to vote for Mike.
Wow. Okay, they patched things up.
Exactly. Like that's the final note on their relationship. I'm going to say JT votes for Tina out of respect.
No, I think he's bitter.
You think he's bitter that she sent him home?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, well, there are no J's, so I feel like, you know what? Actually, I think JT votes for Mike. I think Jenna is going to
definitely vote. Mike.
I think Jenna's going to vote for Mike. I think Fabio is going to vote for whatever Bob does, which is for Mike.
Yeah.
I think Richard might vote for. I think Richard would vote for Tommy.
You don't think he'd vote for Tina?
I think that he'd respect that Tommy beat him at the fire making challenge, and I feel like Visepia could vote for Tina.
Okay.
So right now that is looking like a 6 votes Mike, 2 votes Tommy, 2 votes Tina at this moment. So I guess Mike right now is the one slated to win.
Okay. Mike, just on our own behalf, if people listen to a 3.5-hour podcast for Tommy to win the All Winners who are not there season, what was the reaction going to be?
Boring.
All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and see what happened. All right. The finalists wait for the winner to be revealed. This happens quick. Okay, this might be the winner reveal on the next screen. Anything else you want to say, Mike?
No, I can't remember if they count out the votes or if they don't. But either way, we'll see who wins next page.
Okay, the winner of the season is going to be. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna get the votes. So we'll vote count. Okay, good job, Brant, Steele. Because other times we just get the vote. Okay, first vote, Tommy. Mike Holloway. Tina.
Ooh,
we're tied. Tina. Mike Holloway. Mike Holloway. That's 3 votes, Mike. 2 votes, Tina. 1 vote, Tommy. Tina. We're tied.
Wow.
Tommy.
Oh, 3-3-2.
Tina. 4-3-2. Mike. What are we at? 4-4-2? Are we in a tie? Are we in a Laurel situation?
I think Tommy's the Laurel.
So, wait, hold on. So hold on. So we have 2 votes. So what happens here, Mike? A 4-4-2 vote.
So I'm pretty sure.
Of course,
so
in
just
this
so we know
season,
what's
we have a 4-4-2.
Yeah, in the only season where there was a no vote scenario at the final 13 at the merge vote, it is tied 4-4-2.
So does Tommy vote, or will the 2 votes for Tommy have to vote?
I think Tommy is the single-handed decider here.
Okay.
I think Tommy becomes the final juror, and he casts a vote. This is crazy right now. I can't believe we ended. So Tommy is going to be the one to decide if Mike or Tina is going to win. Is it going to be his mommy or his brother?
Okay. Don't you think they should? I don't. If this really happened, would they let the 2 votes that were for Tommy vote again, or do you think that they?
No. I think they would just say, hey, Tommy, you're a third place. You're a juror now. And as a new juror, you're going to cast a vote that's going to break the tie.
I feel like that Tommy and Mike Holloway had almost no relationship in the game, right?
But in true Brant Steele fashion, that means he's going to vote for him to win.
Yeah. Or does he vote for his mommy, who sent him to fire making?
This is really going to be a test of how Freudian is Tommy Sheehan.
Okay. All right. Tommy will cast the vote. Tommy votes for his mommy, votes for Tina. Congratulations, Tina. You are the winner of Survivor Winners at Peace.
Incredible. On so many levels. I totally thought an old school person wasn't going to win. I totally thought that the men would take it, considering how much the women were outnumbered here. Tina defied the odds, played the new school game, finding idols, surviving votes, winning the final immunity, and, deciding who goes with her to the final 3. I mean, Tina just blazed a trail through this gate in the latter part of it. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, Rob.
Yep. So you asked me before we started of who's going to win, and I said I feel like it's going to be somebody who's underestimated, somebody who's going to be able to get under the radar, and that's not how she finished the game. But I said Sandra, I said Giuseppe. I can't believe I missed Tina.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Tina was the dog that didn't bark, and this dog came back. Every dog has its day, and Tina has 2 days because now she has won for her second time.
What a resume for Tina. She's won twice. She's been voted out of the game first. She's been voted out, come back in. Incredible.
She really has had the full Survivor experience.
Yes. Great job from Tina Wesson. Wow. What a run. What a season. What a
constellation.
What a constellation. This might be the most incredible Brant Steele season that you and I have ever gone through.
Yeah, from a gameplay perspective, this was all sorts of insanity.
Yeah.
But in a really fun way, where it seemed like this gameplay was very dynamic, but not like all over the place. Maybe this shows that Brant Steele's algorithm has sort of improved in itself in the year that we've been doing this, where there was random stuff, but it almost makes sense in retrospect.
All right, let's look at the votes. Bob Crowley voted for Mike.
So we were right about that.
Brian voted for Tina.
We were right about that.
Chris voted for Mike.
Yep, that makes sense.
Chris, both Chris's voted for Mike.
Oh, it was a Chris blockade.
Earl voted for Tommy.
Oh, I guess he was still bitter. Well, Earl then cost Mike the game in that regard. If he had voted for Mike, Mike would have won. Colaway came back once more.
Yeah, he just wanted to flush his vote. He voted for Tommy. And then JT does not want to ever be on the right side of a vote.
He's got to keep up that reputation.
Yeah. Okay, then Jenna Maraska voted for Tina. Fabio voted for Tina. Richard Hatch voted for Mike Holloway.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe, they did have a bond. Remember the H's. Maybe Fabio voted for, it's interesting because I thought Bobbio would vote together, but Fabio voted for Tina. I guess he respected
Visepia voted for Tina.
That makes sense. I think they have a lot of respect for one another.
There you go.
So, yeah,
all right.
Tina wins 5-4-2.
And you'll never guess who won this season's fan favorite award, the Sia money.
In the exact opposite of the outcome of Survivor Vanuatu itself, Chris Doherty is a fan favorite.
Sia gives him $100,000. Why?
I think that, I don't know, maybe she is so inspired by the way he spelled perspective that she creates a song called Perspective and puts it in his video.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations to Chris Daughtery. Okay. Tina is the winner. Survivor Winners at Peace. Great job there by Tina in this wild
merge
season.
Vote.
Yeah.
I just want to take a picture of that merge vote and have it be like the quintessential example of a Brant Steele.
Yeah. I mean, and don't forget some of the other highlights of the season. Don't forget about the big rock draw at the final 6, where a 3-3 vote went to a 2-2 vote. And then, of course, Bob Crowley had to draw the rock against Richard Hatch. Don't forget about JT. I guess that was Tina's signature move of the season when everybody came to vote for her. She played her idol was the sole vote to vote out JT.
Don't forget Brian Heidick playing an idol on Bob the previous round, which also got, Chris Underwood out. Went home with an idol in his pocket the very next round. Don't forget Jenna Maraska. After being able to nail down a majority, Tommy ends up turning on her.
Yeah. Wild season of the show. And, of course, who can forget our first boot, Natalie White.
Do you think she gets any questions at the reunion?
I don't think so. Did she get any questions at the Samoa reunion?
I think a couple maybe, but I can imagine a Rupert...
Will you sell me the title?
Yeah, that was the question from other players. I can imagine Rupert pulling a Stephanie LaGrossa and like walking to the front of the stage and flexing and roaring as we go to commercial.
Yeah. Wow. Survivor winners at peace. Let's see the final statistics. Richard Hatch actually won 5 challenges, but that counts the rewards.
The team stuff.
Yeah. In terms of immunities, JT won 2, Hatch won 2, and Tina won 2. And also true to Survivor 39, Tommy, that he did not rack up immunities, but he did rack up rewards. 4 reward wins.
Oh, do you think Tommy was screwed when he won an immunity necklace?
Yeah.
Do you think that meant that, okay, you can't win in the way you did before?
Yeah. Just also in a wild season, Tina not only won, but also received the most votes. She was tied with Brian Heidick for 18 votes cast against her.
Well, let's remember that at the final 7, she had 6 votes against her. And at the final 6, she had 3 votes against her and then 2 more votes against her. So really, she was in the most dangerous place of anybody at the final 7 and final 6, but she clawed her way out of it, sort of playing a dual role of Ben and Jeremy Collins.
Yeah. And I don't think we mentioned also that Tina actually found 2 idols in the game. So
right. She found one at the final 7 and final 5. Actually, scroll down for a bit because I believe Richard didn't get any votes against him the entire game.
Wow. What a game for Richard Hatch.
Yeah, I think people now are saying, like, okay, Richard's game might not be overrated. Yes, he played at a time where people were just figuring out strategy, but he proved he could play in the modern era without getting any votes against him.
Yeah. Natalie White got more votes as the first boot than Vesepia, Aris, Chris, Sandra, Jenna Maraska, Todd, and Richard Hatch.
Right. I think those, post-swap smaller tribes meant smaller numbers. But yeah, and Jenna, the only votes that Jenna got were the round that she was voted out as well.
So amazing season. Great work putting this all together, Mike. Is anybody still listening or are people on the edge of their seat?
Is anybody out there? We're not entirely sure. You can go back under your rock right now. But we appreciate you all listening.
That
along.
Rock that Bob Crowley pulled out of the bag to take him out.
Yeah, the big purple rock you can now crawl back under. But as he recruits his fellow purple rock drawer Pascal to go back to his homebrewed court.
Yes, he wants a retrial in the court.
This was so much fun. I always love doing these brain steals, but this one in particular felt really, really
This was wild. This one was wild, and I think that usually we're doing real nonsense, and this was nonsense, but at least based somewhat on reality, so this would made it especially fun. These 3.5 hours have flown by, Mike.
I completely agree. And I think that, this will also, listen, I think we're all excited in one way or another for Winners at War, but depending on how you feel about it going into the season or within the first couple episodes, and you want an alternative Survivor season to turn to, now you have one. And I think it has a very deserving and, very sublime outcome at the end.
Okay. We need a Big Brother winner season so we could do the Big Brother simulation of the people that don't get picked.
Yeah, let's wait until Big Brother 22 comes around. I think we can make something happen.
Okay. Mike, where do we go from here?
So, you could definitely talk about what you're doing in terms of preseason stuff. I talked before about the stuff I'm doing at Parade. Again, parade.com/tag/survivor for the weekday winner profiles that I'll be putting up one a day, just going through their winning games. It's been a lot of fun. If you just want bite-sized information as to remember who these players are, feel free to check that out. Also, Liliana Boris and I will be doing the RHAP B&B very soon, doing some fun and games around Survivor Winners at War. Australian Survivor is also happening, and I am excited to say that I will be covering Australian Survivor for True Dork Times on my new column, Bloomerang.
Yeah,
with an
strong
exclamation point. Thank you. That was apparently Shannon reminded me that was a nickname that Nick Yadanza, one of the All-Stars players, gave to me a couple of years ago. So when a contestant gives you a nickname, I feel like you have to utilize it in that regard. It's very Philip Shepard.
I was gonna say that's the Nick Wilson, or Nick Wilson names an alliance. Philip Shepard gives you a nickname.
Right, exactly. So, and he did not nickname Nick, though, ironically enough. But yeah, so I'll be doing weekly recaps of that. If you are at all interested, I put out a very, very long article right now on True Dork Times that basically is your need to know everything compendium about Australian Survivor. Like, what is it? What's the difference between that and America? Who are all the cast members? What is their story so far? If you are in the dark about all that or just need a reminder, feel free to check all that out. Of course, on the post-show recap side of things, of course, things are still going strong there as we head into 2020. I am doing Star Trek Picard coverage with Jessica Leese, which, Rob, I know you are a big fan of. I know you haven't checked out Picard yet, but I think you're really going to like what's happening. We really enjoyed it as well. We'll be doing weekly recaps of that, and I'll be writing about that over on Comic Book Resources. And of course, the aforementioned Josh Wigler and I are going down the hatch as well every week on our Lost Rewatch podcast in perpetuity.
All right.
Of course, if you want to hear me schlep out all that stuff again, but in written form every week, follow me on Twitter at a Mike Bloom type, where I tend to pimp out all these variety of mishmash of nonsense that I usually do every week.
Yes. Okay. Well, Mike, kudos to you for having the stamina to get through all of the plugs at the end of this podcast, because that a lesser man would have said, just go on my Twitter.
No. I don't.
I'm exhausted.
My life is not too long didn't read, Rob. I'm everything before that. I essentially am just, I want to paint a picture instead of just saying, hey, go look at go look at the gallery. You got to sell them on it.
Yeah. I would not mind if I appear with you guys on the Picard podcast. I would cast the Star Trek The Next Generation with survivors.
Oh, all right. I think we can make it so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we need a hashtag, Mike. What's the hashtag for this season? I need to know if people finish this.
It should either be Colaway or to Fabio or to Bobbio.
To Bobbio. Yeah, that's it. To Bobbio.
Okay, so we're doing what? T-O-B-O-B-I-O.
T-O-B-O-B-I-O. Okay, to Bobbio. All right. The great Mike Bloom, everybody. Can't thank you enough, Mike. This was wonderful. I had a great time. Hope you guys did too. We have so much more going on here in the Survivor preseason as we are counting down to Survivor Winners at War for real, and also the 10-year anniversary of Rob as a podcast. So much going on. Head on over to robhasawebsite.com/patron for everything that we're doing, our patron-only podcast feed, our patron Facebook group, where I'm sure there will be a thread talking about this nonsense and much more. robhasawebsite.com/patron. Find out about all the events we have coming up here in this spring, everything going on. robhasawebsite.com/patron. Take care. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Whew.